Talk college football all day. It's a Football Friday right here on The Zone. Whether it's the Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, we've got you covered. This is a Football Friday edition of JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome on in, everybody. It's Football Friday. Thanks for being with us on the program. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Stevenson Sylvester is in his old stomping grounds out east. I mean, he had to fly into Pittsburgh, and obviously he's flown into Pittsburgh a few times, being a former Steeler himself. We got the report. It's humid out there. He's already had to change his draws quite a few times, I think was the actual usage.
But he was prepared.
No, we talked about this last week. You've got to show up with enough in the duffel bag to make sure you can get through an East Coast humidity-filled trip, and he did it. He's prepared. Sly's going to join us a little bit later. Harvey Langi, of course, former NFL linebacker, former BYU linebacker, here with us on the program as well. I've got the Bluey backpack, which means we're set, man. Brant hitting the buttons, that means we're good. Napolis back at the studio. Napolis, you good? Everything good on a Friday, brother? Everything stacking up? You feel normal? You feel like we're going to be hitting this thing out of the park today?
Oh, absolutely, man. It's Friday. Let's go.
Yeah, we got to get
It's a football Friday.
It is a football Friday. So we're going to kick the show off as we always do. Our show is brought to you by G2G Bars, and we're going to kick the program off here with the cut. Top of the hour. Let's just jump right in here.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program as well. TRAJAN Wealth.com. That's Trajan Wealth for all your trusted local needs in retirement. Well, we're all a little bit embarrassed because of all the picks we made last week. You watched the game. We got this thing all ready for you. We teed it up. Said Utah was going to win this game against Texas Tech. You don't just waltz into Rice-Eccles Stadium and put it on Kyle Whittingham and the Utah Utes.
Apparently you can these days.
It doesn't happen that often. In fact, I think that was the second largest loss in the history of Kyle Whittingham's tenure at home, which is wild to think. And I don't know. When you started to look at this thing, and Harvey, JJ and I have been talking about all week, but I'm curious as to what your thoughts were on how this thing went down. Obviously, there's the injury stuff on top of it with Devin Dampier that, like, later we find out he wasn't 100%, couldn't do the running thing, which is a huge part of his game. So it was just a weird weekend. No one was ready for what Texas Tech was going to bring to that table. And I think the shocking thing was Utah lost the line of scrimmage. How often do we say that with the Kyle Whittingham program?
You rarely say that. You know, usually the trench boys are dialed in over there at the University of Utah. But the Utes looked a little flat throughout the whole game, and they couldn't find a spark, and I felt that at home, as I did predict that Texas Tech was not going to come in here and just, bully us around. And there was a piece of me, and I'm not going to – I didn't want to say it because woulda, coulda, shoulda, you should have done it then. I wanted to be the devil's advocate last time, be the only one to go against it. But in my mind, I was like, I got to put 801 over Texas. And plus, it's hard, like we said earlier, it's hard to come into the Utes territory and try to play a very good game against them.
It used to be.
Oh,
they're 0-5 at home in the Big 12.
You keep doing this doom and gloom thing. I get
Think
it.
about it.
They're 2-8 in conference play so far. We kept
They're
hearing that this week.
4-11 in their last 15 conference games.
Ouch.
That's a fact.
That
is a fact.
Going back to the Pac-12, you're saying?
Yes.
Wow. Oof.
Ever since Bryson Barnes, and that was a rogue. Ever since Bryson Barnes beat USC at USC, they are 4-11 in conference games. That's a problem.
Yeah.
And you can't hide it. You gotta bring it up, and you gotta say this is not a one year deal. This is a problem that's now extending into a third season. And I know this is a new team, new year, all that stuff, but the fact remains. Those are the stats. That's your record. You are what your record says you are, and they got to own that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Until further notice, right?
Until further notice.
What is it?
Until you go out there and you start changing that trend.
So what's funny is then we just go right back to it again this week, and we start to go, yeah, but West Virginia, that'll be an easy one, right, guys? I mean, and that's a team that's absolutely obliterated by injuries. The Mountaineers, by the way, like their injury report this week is just chock full of all their best players.
Starting quarterback, top 3 running backs.
3
offensive lineman starters. Their tight ends, co-starter tight end. They are a mash unit. Utah should go over there and not just win but obliterate them. And if it's anything short of that, you're still going to have questions.
Yeah. I think the biggest – I don't know how you explain – because it's one thing to say Devin Dampier didn't play well, right? And you go, oh, well, he wasn't – and he's not 100%. Then you start to go, all right, he's not throwing even very well because he can't plant that foot or whatever it is, however he was feeling. The accuracy was off. I mean, he was accurate all the other games. His accuracy was off, even on throws that looked like guys were open. And he was not necessarily under pressure. But he's also not running down the field, so you're like, all these things are taken away from him. So at what point – but the O-line situation, that was the thing that shocked everybody, right? Like to see them – stall, to see them come up short, to see their best players have stacked penalties on top of problems. All of that leads you to think maybe – I mean, I'm not – how are we supposed to know what it looks like from a mental aspect if they're ready for these games? You know what I mean? Like, since when do they get beat on the head games part of it, right?
Yeah, well, they were 31 rushing attempts for 101. That's 3.3. You know, that doesn't sound too bad per rush.
No, but Kyle Whittingham brought it up. He goes, that was with garbage yards at the end, he said.
And, you know. he didn't give his team any excuses.
No.
And they gave the ball away. So Texas Tech had 4 takeaways, 2 fumble recoveries, and then they had 2 interceptions. But Texas Tech also threw 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
But they lost the turnover battle. They went 0-2 for 4th down. They were crappy on 3rd down. And if you look at Texas Tech, they were elite on all, from 3rd down. They didn't even have to go for it on 4th down. They had 0 attempts at 4th down because they were just dominating. And the time of possession is pretty even. 32 minutes for Texas Tech and 27 for them. So it's just more of finishing drives. And they didn't even, shoot themselves in the foot, the Utes. The Utes did not even shoot themselves in the foot because they only had 2 penalties for 10 yards.
Right.
The Texas Tech had about 12 or some around there for 100+. So can Devin throw the ball? Can he finish drives? Can he be a leader when adversity hits? Can you be that guy to be like, hey, that's on me.
Yeah.
Go out there, defense, get my back.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to come back out there and let's see if we can finish a drive for y'all. Hey, go kick this field goal. Next time we're going to get in the zone, guys. Hey, here we go. Hey, I overthrew that. Let's just maybe go talk to your quarterback coach or the OC. Like, give me a couple of short throws. Give me a couple of RPOs, just nice little short throws. I need to get a rhythm right now. Right now I don't know what the heck I'm doing, And sometimes you just got to put your foot in the ground as the leader, as that QB position, to just take over the game, even when it's crappy. Everyone wants to take over the game when you're winning.
Yeah.
You want to be the guy holding the trophy, singing the fight song right in the front.
Right.
But then when crap hits the fan, are you willing to go up there and have that type, that same type of energy?
Are you going to go full Caleb Williams and pout with the towel on your head on the sideline
and
pretend like you didn't know that this was happening to you? Kyle Whittingham, this was the comment, I think. He was talking about the turnovers, how big of a deal it was, and it was the turnovers. It was the line of scrimmage. Those were the 2 biggest excuses. This is what he said about that.
Ran the ball very poorly, way under 100 yards if you take away the garbage yards that happened, those last 3 or 4 plays. That was disappointing. I never would have believed if you would have said we were going to lose the line of scrimmage. Never would have believed that in a million years, but we did.
He said, "Hey," and he was like, and it was not just that. It wasn't just losing the line of scrimmage. It was also turning the ball over those 4 times. Here's what he said about the turnovers too.
You cannot turn the ball over 4 times. If you turn the ball over 4 times, your chances of winning are 15%. The only thing that would fix that is if your defense took it away 4 or 5 times. That's excessive turnovers. That's you'll turn it over nearly 50 times in the year if you do that. So that is the biggest problem today. If you want to say what is the biggest problem, turnovers. Second biggest problem, not controlling the line of scrimmage.
At no point is it like our quarterback's not good enough, right? And part of that is because I think that they knew what the injury situation was, not the rest. We didn't all know, right? It wasn't even revealed until afterward that people are like, Was he not 100%? No, he didn't even practice half the week. Wait, what? So that's a big deal. Like when your quarterback isn't taking those reps during the week. I'm not saying he wasn't used to what the offense is, but they were just relying on the fact that, okay, let's get him to as good as possible by the weekend. Don't tell anybody, and let's just see if we can kind of fake this one through. And the reality is, and I said it earlier in the week, Utah had the third best quarterback in the building that day. Baron Morton, I mean, he threw those 2 picks. It wasn't like he had a perfect day either, but they were having big chunk plays. We talked about last week. We were like, Texas Tech is really good at the chunk plays. Yeah. Utah is not good at the chunk plays. But we didn't really care because it was like, that's not what Kyle Whittingham wants to do on offense. They're just going to grind it out. There's no version of being able to grind it out with a team like that.
For 3 quarters, they did.
Yeah, right. It was close. It was close. They scored 24 points in the fourth quarter, which, again, it sounds like it's an excuse too, but it's not. It's actually worse where you just go, oh, you guys went all the way this far, and you asked your defense to do all of this, and the offense had no response to this thing and no way to be able to respond to a Texas Tech team who'd never played there. On the national level, 4.5 million people got to see Utah not show up for that game or their quarterback not be as good as everybody thought that he was going to be.
But you can't believe everything you hear. Oh, well, he didn't practice and all. A lot of guys are taking this NFL type, hey, vet days off. Oh, hey, you ran.
Does that happen in college now?
It's starting to happen.
Really?
And let's call it what it is. It's like
college football load management.
Hey, coach.
It happens in high school.
Yeah,
too.
Today I just a little tired from the game before, a little bit banged up. Oh, hey, it's fine. Take it. You have everything down, yeah. But I want you out there, calling the plays, running through it, walk through. There's a lot of these veteran days off, and I'm not saying this, I hope that that's not the case with Devin Dampier. I hope he's getting well or whatever injury he's going through because, you never want injury. You never want anyone to go through an injury when he's this talented, especially being the quarterback position for Utah. But if he practices for now on and has no of these, he's been practicing every single week, and then if he's injured, it's like, he's injured, he's not practicing, you'll know now. So if he doesn't miss a practice from now until the end of the year, Coach Witt will not let that fly anymore.
Yeah. Who knows? Like how are we supposed to know if he's going to get right? You know what I mean? Is he suddenly like, this week he was okay? I mean, they still put him out there when he was not, and he still tried to go when he wasn't 100%, which also does not help, like in the recovery part of things, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's always hard to do. So Utah takes the L, and it's back to the drawing board. It's an unfortunate thing because you ran into a buzzsaw of a team who is obviously one of the best in the conference. We knew that they were going to be good. I don't think we knew exactly how good. I still don't think we necessarily know how good because there's still a lot of football to be played in this wild conference.
But I'll say money well spent.
Oh, man. The bag.
That D-line was worth every penny.
Yeah, the bag works, man. The bag works.
How impressed were you guys with the backup of Texas Tech?
Hammond is a stud.
13 for 16.
Yes.
Like 175 yards and 2 touchdowns. He put the ball on the money they'd show it in slow motion.
Yeah.
You can critique everything in slow motion. You're watching in slow motion, you're like, oh my gosh, it's 2 inches over the fingers of Nate Ritchie. You know what I mean? Like he's putting balls on the freaking money.
And he was threat.
And he was yes, he gave a little bit of a different dimension.
I know.
He was nice. and all the BYU guys were just raving about him because I guess he had interest, right, when Jake's
he's a member of the church.
Yes. And
he's a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
So right when Jake Retzloff's situation happened, I heard there was a lot of interest of him coming to BYU. But
Harvey, you think about it, just reach out and be like, you want to get a workout in? Get him, and then let's start talking to him.
Like, you ever heard of Built Bar? And Bam Bam's Barbecue? Yeah.
Free brisket, baby.
I think we can work something out for you. Yeah.
So it's funny that this week their head coach, Joey McGuire, had to make it clear in a press conference that he signed to a 2-year deal.
Oh, so you know what? Think about.
He wanted to make sure everybody out there knew.
Think about where we are.
That Hammond is signed to a 2-year deal.
Yeah, until you're not.
Right.
And I don't want to say Built Bar. We're sponsored by G2G bars here.
That's right.
I think Built Bar is probably fallen on some weird times with BYU.
Well,
too. I
yeah,
think they're in a weird
yes,
relationship.
they are. But that's what I mean. The past couple of years, you walk through BYU, you can get a Built Bar at least. But yeah, I don't know if
that's the case anymore.
Yeah.
Speaking of BYU. An impressive second half for Bear Bachmeier. The defense, Evan Johnson, how about what that guy turned into over the weekend? It was, all these other guys talking, all these other guys getting all the attention, right? Your linebacker's getting all this attention. Jack Kelly, he still I mean, my goodness, the sack that he had when he ran down that quarterback was phenomenal. This is a guy who is just on a different level. And yet Evan Johnson takes over that first half, and as soon as that defensive score happens, okay, he picks it off in his own red zone, the end zone.
Gets out of it,
gets the Cougs out of a bad situation. Then on that punt and pin weird situation there, then he gets that pick at the 2-yard line and walks it in for a pick six, like a veteran move, baiting the quarterback on that too. It looked really good. And then, at the end of all of it, that bailed BYU out enough to go, okay. And then they settled down.
They were able to breathe.
How much of a difference is it when your defense does that kind of work to where you can go, all right? And then I think that's what people hoped that Utah's offense would have done. But BYU's offense in the second half, I think you get a little bit of courage for Bear, who goes, okay, I'm starting to find my rhythm here. He looked better than he has all year long throwing the football in that second half.
If it wasn't ECU, say it was with Texas Tech, it would be pretty scary for BYU.
Right.
Because BYU didn't score until 6 minutes into the third quarter.
Right.
So 6 minutes left in the third quarter. The
An
offense
offensive
didn't.
touchdown, yeah.
Finally, they get an offensive touchdown. What Alex just explained right there is that the defense had to just have Bears back in the offense, the Cougars offense. There was a punt to go to the Cougars, right? And then one of the Cougars get a penalty on the sideline, so they get backed up.
Right.
So then when they get backed up, they go 3 and out, and they punted it. Those guys go in, kick a field goal, so the defense stops them there, even though ECU had a short yardage there. And then that drive where Evan Johnson gets that first pick that Alex just explained, that was the longest drive. That was almost a 10-minute drive on ECU, driving the balls, 8 minutes or something, coming down the field. And the defense is gassed, and Evan saves the day. Evan Johnson grabs that interception, takes it down, and then the offense goes out there. I think they get a field goal. And then Evan Johnson comes back when the ECU's now is backed up, baits that throw, intercepts it, and gets the first score in the second quarter for the Cougs.
So then it's 13-3, and you're like, well, their offense isn't moving the ball very well. This feels okay. Then you do kind of go, all right, there's some breathing room there, like literally some breathing room before they went into the half.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that Utah and BYU just figure out how to start fast again. Yeah. And I think Coach Witt said it in his interview right there. They got to win the line, and both sides, from the D linemen getting vertical and getting in the backfield, and then the offensive line to push and start the run game. And both sides, at BYU and at University of Utah, if they can both just win the line in the beginning of the game faster and do it more efficiently in the first quarter, I think there's hope on the offensive side. But until then, both of them are struggling offensively.
Yeah. It's kind of weird.
BYU was expected. We knew they'd have to grind it out with their run game, and Bear would take some time, and the schedule's been helping them with that.
Yeah.
Utah's was a little more surprising because through the first 3 games, we thought that this offense had something. They had a lot of different personnel packages. They had a lot of different wrinkles. They were getting a lot of guys involved, bringing some of the defensive guys over. It just felt dynamic and fun, and then it came to a screeching halt against Texas Tech. But again, this weekend reminds me of how important it is to have playmakers. Evan Johnson is a playmaker, and without playmakers in games that step up in certain points in time and make a play like that can change the complete momentum of a game, the complexion of a game, the direction a game goes, you have to sit there and grind out sometimes. You need guys like Evan Johnson to step up. Utah didn't have a playmaker step up on Saturday. There wasn't one, right? Jackson Benny almost was. That interception was incredible. The touchdown was the touchdown catch would have been amazing, but the interception in the end zone saved us a touchdown, but it didn't produce any points, and they took one off the board with the catch. So your playmaker that was making plays early in the game, it was negated. Yeah. That could have been a huge thing for Utah if they would have got that touchdown and even the score there. But it's just so important to have playmakers, and you know this, Harvey, especially at the NFL level. Like there's guys that set themselves apart by making plays at key times, and that's how stars are born, and that's how you, as a program, become elevated. You've got to have certain guys on your team that you can count on to go out there and make something happen when things aren't going well.
Do you think? I brought this up, I think, a couple weeks ago, that we were goo gaga all drilling all over the Utes offense because last year they sort of did something that we haven't seen out the Utes in a very long time, going 5-7. And then this year they start off strong and they show out like, hey, this quarterback is the new deal, real deal. It's going to bring us back to what Utah football is all about. And then with BYU last year, I feel like the expectations were out of this roof because they go 11-2. They have a lot of guys. They have guys that they have a lot of guys that came back from that team. Yeah. And then because if in my household, a lot of people were just critiquing, oh, man, BYU they're going to go, oh, I don't think it's that this year. And then at the University of Utah before this game, everyone's like, oh, the Utes are going to take it all the way. And I just felt like last year was a huge part of that. And it just shows you got to have playmakers, but you also got to do it day in and day out. Correct. Day in and day out. And those that can do it consistently at a high level, day in and day out, and stack those are the guys that, just like how Texas Tech did, they've been stacking those days, and they came out to the 801 and showed, hey, we're going to stack another day over here.
They were the better team, no doubt.
Here's what Kalani said about Bear, because I think that everybody was wondering. He talked about the struggles on third down for the team, and obviously with the defense kind of bailing you out, they were able to kind of buy themselves some time. Here's what he said about those struggles on third down and how that worked out with the defense playing as well as they did.
In the first half, you saw him miss some throws. I know he wished he could have those back, but I think given the environment, the hostility here, I think it was a good step for him in the right direction. And then we saw him play much better in the second half. So I think hopefully he's turned the corner and we can rely on him being a veteran now. With 3 games under his belt, no longer a true freshman. I like the checks that he made, the audibles that he did a great job. I mean, he's super intelligent and put our offense in a really good spot, especially in the second half.
Look, I get it. We don't go from being 18 years old and go, you know what, let's bump him up to veteran status. I was like, pump the brakes a little bit. He's only 3 games in. We're liking the progression of the schedule and how it's worked out. You can't plan it out like this. It's not like Tom Holmoe was like, all right, when we sign up those games in 2026 or 2025.
Jake Retzloff's going to transfer in the summer.
Right.
And you're probably going to get a quarterback win the battle.
Probably going to get an 18-year-old in and win the battle during camp. And then that's why we're gonna slow start this this schedule, because like you said, Harvey, if they were the ones playing Texas Tech first last week at LaVell Edwards Stadium, that would have been scary, right? Yeah. I mean, and who knows how that thing would have turned out. But you have a similar defense. You have a similar, they could have grounded out with that Texas Tech offense and maybe never gotten it going, because that D-line at Texas Tech, I mean, those guys are legit. And when they showed the graphic up on TV on Fox, and they were showing all the transfers, so they had their whole defense up, and they had in yellow underneath every guy who was a transfer. So transfer, and it was like it looked stupid. It looked like it was a joke, because you're like, oh my gosh, these guys, they didn't just have the bag; they had the whole bank. Yeah. And that's how you're able to turn something around that quickly. We like Joey McGuire. Like, this is a guy who we're like, that guy's a good coach. He knows what he's doing. He's had to take some lumps. I mean, he was on the hot seat 2 seasons ago. People were like, oh, it's just another high school coach who was a legend at Cedar Hill High School there in Texas. Just another high school coach who didn't make it. You know what I mean? Like, there are so many guys. Ask, your South Lake Carrolls and people who go, man, they won 88 games in a row and they won 4 state championships. Put them in college. And then they get there and it's a different game. Joey McGuire has figured it out. And he has done some crazy things to be able to get to the spot. And Texas Tech showed that you can either be Texas Tech or you can be Oklahoma State. And you can go, we're not with the times. And if you're Texas Tech and you're with the times, you can compete. And you can be that team that everyone now this week is talking about as a college football playoff contender.
Texas Tech is in college football what BYU has been in college basketball. NIL.
That's a great point.
They took advantage of the opportunity, and they became a different level. They took a different level.
Yep.
And it's, give Texas Tech credit for having the ability to do that and embracing it.
We got to take a break. We'll come back. We've got more to go on a Football Friday. We'll get you all ready for this matchup, of course, this weekend with all the teams in action. Everybody trying to figure it out. Utah on the road at West Virginia. Sly's going to join us a little bit later in the program. He's out there, of course, covering the Utes and doing the sidelines for the broadcast there. And we'll get his thoughts on this game last week, and also get his thoughts on how this thing is going to go this week and this time around, how you bounce back from something like that. I know that there are Utah fans who are feeling like this is a repeat nightmare of what we've seen of other past. When you start talking about quarterbacks being injured and a really good defense not able to go a full game because you can't just ask those guys to do something all game long. We'll also talk about BYU versus Colorado. Mitch Harper, our BYU insider from KSLSports.com, going to join us. He's out in Boulder covering that game as well. We got you covered top to bottom right here. It's Football Friday, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All college football, all day. It's a Football Friday right here on the Zone. Whether it's the Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, we've got you covered. This is a Football Friday edition of JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah, Jensen. Harvey Langi joining us, of course, as he does through these football seasons, his inaugural year on Football Fridays. Sly's on the road. I don't know how he's doing with that 2 time zone travel stuff. I don't know if he's able to adjust today. His eating schedule is probably way off. You know, I mean, I don't know how you deal with
It's a good thing he left on Thursday.
He gives himself an extra day of travel just to be able to adjust. We were texting back and forth with Sly. He's like, there's nothing to do here. He's like, I got nothing going on here. Come on. Sly will join us in just a few.
It's not hopping in Morgantown tonight?
I was like, you should have stayed in Pittsburgh. That's your old stomping ground. He goes, yeah, but the team's in Ireland. I don't get to go do my alumni hangout at the old facility and stuff and high-five.
Got to have some old teammates that still live in Pittsburgh.
That's what I said. I go, just
man.
hang out. Isn't Paul Skeens like pitching or something one of these days? Go hang out with Livy Dunn up in the booth. Go. Come on, man.
Go get a
this thing
sandwich.
going. Go get a Primanti Brothers sandwich. You know what they do? They put fries on sandwiches because no one's ever done that. Anyway.
Genius.
Well, let's get into it. By the way, Utah State also gets into the win column again. We talked about how Bronco Mendenhall is going to, he changes the program whenever he shows up. It takes a minute, though, right? It always takes a little bit for a coach to get their feet under him and to kind of figure some things out here and there. And I just wonder if it's starting to, if this is the kind of place it's hard not to buy into the philosophy of Bronco, but sometimes it takes a minute. And when he suspended Ike Larson, he showed everybody that he was not messing around.
He is no respecter of persons.
he has a Harvey knows. This is a guy who's got some rules set, but that kind of stability when a program is kind of on the that could do well for a place like Utah State.
The honor
right?
code was like not even talked about, and then Bronco came in there and read every single BYU books. Hey, what's this honor code? Hey, bring it up.
Yeah.
The honor code will be honored here.
Well, not just that. No. It's like you got the honor code, then you got the Bronco code.
Yeah.
Like it was almost like he required even more of guys.
No, I respect it, though. When I very first got to BYU and was coached by Bronco, yes, I fought. I was always the type to fight against the grain and wanted to take, somewhat of not always the easiest way out. But it's like, gosh, it's like, why do we have to go hike a mountain right now on a Saturday morning when I could easily be watching cartoons and having French toast? But I got to go do it anyways, because if I don't, then I might get suspended.
Right.
But he what he does is he builds culture. And, you got to be one way. If you're going to build a culture, you can't play both sides. And he always has to be the same guy, and that's who he is. And you got to respect it. And the Aggies are going to see a lot of success from that. And, we've already seen it this year. They're scoring a lot. Of points.
Yeah. Bryson Barnes has got 10 touchdowns in the last 2 games.
Yeah, scoring 22 points on Texas A&M. Like, who would ever thought?
Yeah.
So.
Man, they go out to Vanderbilt, and we had one of the beat writers on this week from Vandy, and it's really funny because it honestly is like the SEC is something different. Vanderbilt has never been, like, I feel like totally accepted as part of the crowd. But, man, they're taking the right steps when they act like nobody else matters on the planet except for them. And I think that it's you underestimate Utah State. You look at them and compare them to – because, look, how many people even know that Utah State exists outside of Nashville? You know what I mean? Like,
definitely not down in SEC country.
And that's why I think that a lot – they could go in there. Look, and when New Mexico State has gone in and played a team like Vanderbilt, New Mexico State is not Utah State. UTEP is not Utah State. Like, I can't stress enough to people. Those teams are – Utah State is closer to a Boise State than it is any of those other programs.
100%.
And you can't underestimate a guy like Bronco Mendenhall. So I'm looking forward to this weekend because he started out the year 3-1. Like I said, 10 touchdowns in the last 2 – imagine if we were saying Devin Dampier had 10 touchdowns in the last 2 games. You know what I mean? Or if Bear Bachmeier had accounted for 10 touchdowns in 2 games. Like, we would be like – okay, start chiseling the mold for the new statue outside of Lavelle Edwards Stadium for Bear, because 10 touchdowns in 2 games. But Bryson Barnes is going to be a first-team Mountain West quarterback by the end of it if he can keep this up. I'm not just saying 5 touchdowns a week. What I'm saying is putting Utah State on a map on a season that everybody thought that they weren't going to do.
That's a wide-open conference. Boise State is not Boise State anymore, at least not this year. UNLV is very, very
average.
Yeah. I mean, they barely beat Miami of Ohio. They had to rally and come back to win that game. And
New Mexico, I think Jason Eck is doing a good job. That's fine, but it's New Mexico.
Why can't Utah State beat them? So why not the Aggies?
Yeah.
Why not the Aggies? And why can't they go down there and give Vanderbilt a scare? Vanderbilt's looking past Utah State because you guess who's Vanderbilt's playing next week? Alabama. The rematch. Trust me, everybody in Nashville that even cares about Vanderbilt, which isn't very many people, is totally locked in on Alabama. They're not thinking about Utah State. You know what the Aggies are doing though? This is their bowl. This is a big opportunity for them to go down there and beat a ranked team on the road.
Right.
And do I think they're going to do it? I think they'll come up short, but I think they're going to give Vanderbilt a scare. Because Bronco Mendenhall knows how to get teams up for these kind of games. He does.
Yeah, I agree also because they went against a Texas A&M already. So that jitters of like, oh, we're going against a bigger conference. And
down there to Kyle
You're not
Field.
going to be intimidated.
No,
it's a high school stadium.
Texas A&M is big time compared to Vanderbilt
100%,
Stadium too.
But just more of just the fact it's SEC ball. And, they've already, that's already been done away with Texas A&M and them playing them and scoring 22 points. But I 100% agree. I 100% agree that Utah State, I think they will have a good chance if their defense can if they can hold if Utah State's defense can hold Vanderbilt to just drive the ball. No explosive plays or chunk plays. Let them drive 80 yards, 70 yards. And if they have to just keep driving, and yes, if they do score, if they kick a field goal, whatever it is, if they just keep driving the ball and there's no just one play takes off. And then the second thing is that if they can stay under, I want to say 20 yards of penalty points, but it has to be the fewest penalty points. And then if Vanderbilt gets over probably like 80 or so penalty points, I feel like they might have a chance to just stay in this game and maybe just go ahead and win the game.
If it's 17-7 at the half or something, and you're sticking around, that makes teams like Vanderbilt, who they're not used to putting the foot down on people. I don't think they're used to putting the chokehold on folks. They haven't been good for that long, right? And so you can. And by the way, we didn't even know how good they were last year because they were 7-6. But I don't know. I just think I'm not saying that Utah State's going to go in and get a win either. But I do think that they're going to keep this thing. You're going to give these guys a lot better hope than the 23.5 point spread that Vegas is giving
cover.
This one. It's
Utah
crazy.
State will cover.
It's crazy.
Harvey, I want to ask you because you played for Bronco and you talked about the culture part, and we all see that and get that. What does he do from an X's and O's standpoint in the guys he has working with them? What do they do that allows them to be so successful with what they do, scheme-wise?
That's a great question because everyone knows that Bronco will bring in the culture. He'll make sure this is the way we do it and there's no other way. It's my way or the highway or my way or just, take off your jersey and get out of here. But the X's and O's, that was the most impressive thing. I never knew football until I was coached by Bronco Mendenhall. And he had a good supporting, staff and coaching staff that was surrounded him, or the guys that he's hired. I tip my hat off to them, but it all came from him. He was the core. He is the mad scientist behind everything, from the way that he wants the special teams done, and he can choose somebody and just allow you to go do what you do best. And it stinks sometimes because you're just like, gosh, I feel like I'm the guy to be the blitzer. I could set the edge. Or he's like, no, I truly do see you being a middle linebacker or a safety because of all the things that you've showed me that you're good at. And you might only be in one package or you might be in multiple packages, but he will always use that athlete in the best way that he can, and the best way that he can help out the scheme. And his schemes are just they're so simple, but also teaches you actual football. And it's hard to explain right now because I don't want to go into, we ran a 4-3 and then sometimes a 3-4. No, it's just more of the fact of understanding concepts, knowing what this concept is. What is this situation? A 2nd and 1. What is that situation? Well, that's a waist down. A 2nd and 1 situation, everyone's thinking, running, they're going to run it, or QB sneak. No, they're going to play action, take a shot down the field.
A huge play, yeah.
I never knew that until I was under Bronco. And those are the type of things that he teaches you. It's like situational awareness.
You got some guys in the basement that they could have helped you out, too, with that.
Yeah.
Guys who are studying football on Monday Night Football, they could have also helped out.
Yeah.
They're going for the big shot on 2nd and 1. I watched this happen.
Yeah.
Harvey, you also, of all the things that you could, like, being coached at the college level versus the pro level, like, what's the biggest difference there? Because I feel like those guys don't do the hand-holding, nurturing thing like we're trying to build a culture here. It's just like there's an expectation in the league, and you better be up to it. You better rise up to that versus them coming down and teaching you, or is it different?
No, it's 100% different. So say college, it's like, hey, here's the menu, guys, and that's a menu for everyone. From freshmen all the way up, that's going to be the menu. Yeah, we might take a little piece of it when we go against Utah. Yeah, we might take a little bit more, actually, when we go against Utah. But if we go against Weber State or something, maybe we're going to take 3 of the things off the menu. In the NFL, they're going to teach you the base offense and defense, and they're going to teach you the base. Just, hey, here's our base defense, our base offense. All right, here's our base. If we go into trips, this, or if we go into 11 personnel, 12, here's all the bases. Here's all of our base pressures. Here's our base blitzes. Here's our base goal line. Here's our base special teams. But then things will tweak as you go again. So everything will be completely, yes, we have our base, but then it's like, hey, here's all the new audibles. Here's all of our new checks now because we're going against Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. And so, yeah, this is our base, but guess what? That's not it this case. Why? Because this guy can run all over, and he could throw it all over. So now we have a check this, check that. And another thing is that when we study in the NFL, you got to study not only the team and what they've done before, you got to study the year before, the head coach and where he's been and what he's done against the coaches that are our coaches. So, if I'm with, Bill Belichick and then we're going against, say John Harbaugh, I go back and see all the John Harbaugh versus Bill Belichick games. And then not only that, you go after the GM and you have to look at his tendencies and what type of guys that he brings in and what type of coaches that he brings in and what's the culture. And you go all the way up to the owner. And maybe that was only with the Patriots, but we went all the way up to the owner and we had to know the owner, his background, where he came from, where he gets his money from, what does he like to do, all the way down to their GAs and their assistants. And so then you can really know, like, hey, this is the same situation as back in 2007. They're probably going to run the same play that beat us. You know what I mean?
I watched film all the way back then, and I know what they're going to do because of that one thing that I may have watched.
And, yeah, it sounds like, it's impossible to watch. Yeah, you're not going to watch every single one, but that's the type of, details that the NFL coaching and the way that they want to teach us, because every play matters.
Yeah.
And if you mess up on that play or you're not prepared for that play, guess what? They'll go find someone else that's willing to go watch that 2007 game.
We always say this about the NFL, but like the Browns beating the Packers last weekend, that's perfect. It's a perfect example of what you get in the NFL.
Yeah.
Just that,
any given Sunday.
And every play matters, right? Every play. Because the Green Bay Packers could be ahead with 3 minutes left by 10 points, and it didn't matter, even against the Browns, that everyone likes to make fun of. But it's like the Browns beat the freaking Packers, and everyone's like, it was a huge upset. And you're like, is it really a huge upset in the NFL? Like, really, when it comes down to it, it's really hard to – that would have been one that would have been an easy pick. I mean, but at the same time, there are so many dogs on every freaking roster in the NFL. It just is – it's awesome. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got more around the corner. We've got a Would You Rather, a Football Friday edition of Would You Rather. Next, we're at Orem High School, Orem versus Timpview tonight. You're going to see this one on Game Night Live. We'll see if the accommodations up at the Orem. I didn't know they're not just the Orem Tigers. They're the Golden Tigers.
That's right.
That's the first time I've seen that written up on something. So, come on down, watch this one, or just you can download the app, so you can do all of the different ways to watch the game on KSLSports.com. You can listen to it on our on the KSL Sports Zone as well. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More to go. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's a Football Friday. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen, Harvey Langi, all from Orem High School, home of the Tigers. Tonight hosting the Golden Tigers. All playing host to Timpview, crosstown rival. And I was talking to my son today. I go, Orem's quarterback is committed to Alabama. He's like, what? And I said, yeah, we're hitting the big time now, guys.
Yeah.
Now, will that hold
it's too
up?
bad Alabama Jones won't be here tonight. That would have been cool. Nick Saban at Orem. That would have been fun. But those days are over.
I was trying to think, did he do that kind of stuff? Would he show up at –
Are you kidding me? No way.
Of course not.
No, he had assistants do that for him.
Miss Terry shows up.
Oh, yeah.
Waves to the crowd.
I'm sure she sent them something real nice.
Accepts a UCCU check for a scholarship for a kid and says thank you so much.
Are you accusing Miss Terry of being the bag man? Is that how they did it?
The bag coach's wife? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she could probably. Look, they even said, remember his whole thing was, it's like, Miss Terry said, why are we doing this, Nick? No one cares about the Sunday breakfasts anymore that we do. They just care about how much money they're giving them. I'm like, settle down. You guys, come on. You guys own a Ferrari dealership in Florida. Stop acting like you guys were down and out coaching a football team just because you love football. Come on. You like developing players. That's what we did. We developed players. It's like, okay. So nothing under the table ever? Come on. Settle down. It's all above board now.
Right.
Every Wednesday, the KSL Sports Zone, you have yourself a Win Ticket Wednesday. This Wednesday, you can win some Fastness VIP tickets to Nightmare on 13th. And one location, 2 haunted attractions. It's that time of year, by the way. Nightmare on 13th, where Halloween lives. Get $10 off at nighttime attractions by using the discount code THEZONE. And listen to the KSL Sports Zone all day on Wednesday for your chance to win tickets. Look, those haunted houses and stuff, they make you can't even call them a haunted house anymore. It's like a haunted attraction. They build a whole thing around it. They make killings.
It's like the Halloween version of an entertainment district.
I guess, but what's funny
we're not just a haunted house.
No, but there's so much money that
we have so much more to offer.
Oh yeah, but for example, these ones that are just like they only open for Halloween, and then they're decorated the rest of the year like Halloween. It's like Christmas. They still have their gargoyles up, and you go, there's money in Halloween, probably more than there is Christmas in some cases.
No doubt.
So there you go. Let me see here. Would you rather be in Utah's spot where you're 3-1, but you just lost to Texas Tech, right? But now the schedule doesn't necessarily soften, but I think that you've got this thing where there's a little bit of a wake-up call in there. Or where you're sort of living a little bit of a you don't really know what you are right now with BYU and you're 3-0.
I'd rather know who I am.
Have that loss that just goes,
that's
okay,
who you were.
Gut check time.
You know now, and now you have the rest of the season to take the medicine from that loss and try to get better. There's a lot of teams in college football that are kind of skating by. Look at the top 25. There's some teams in the top 25 you're like, really?
Yeah.
Vanderbilt's one of them.
Yeah, you don't know if they're actually
really
there. Right.
And you see some of these wins. It's like, okay, that sounded like a good win in week 1 or 2. Is Georgia Tech really that good? I'm not buying Georgia Tech at all. Look at Clemson, right? So would you rather be one of those teams that's kind of skating by and they're getting attention because they're undefeated, but they're kind of frauds, and we're gonna find out they're frauds soon? Or would you rather learn in week 4 who you are, that it's not good enough, and now you have this time and you have the players, coaches' attention, we have to get better in order to find your true potential, and then you can start working towards that. I would much rather be in that situation if that's who I am. If you're 4-0 and undefeated and you know who you are and you just won a big game against a ranked team, then great. But I don't want to be a fraud. I don't want to live in the dark. I want to know who I am.
Harvey, I feel like you're the guy who's like, I would never want that and won. I don't want that loss at all.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
I'm going to go undefeated. I do hear what you're saying, JJ, and I agree on a lot of those things. You just get it out of your system, and now hey, These are the things that we got to work on. But on the other side of things, if I'm watching film on what Texas Tech just did to y'all, or to not y'all, to the University of Utah, guess what we're doing? We're copy and pasting.
Right.
And that's what every team's going to keep doing to the Utes. They're going to keep copy and pasting until we say, did you fix it? And if it keeps happening over and over and over and over, then now it can really seep into the hearts of those players of like, we stink of holding the line.
That's fair. The confidence can start to wane, and then when that happens, you have a 5-7 season like last year.
And then you start.
It snowballed quick for the Utes last year.
It can snowball. Yeah, the snowball effect. But with BYU now, I would go 3-0 because it's always easier to coach and to tell someone, hey, these are the things you did wrong, and it's not all the land of the milk and honey, and hey, this is how it's going to be for the rest of the year. They haven't been punched in the mouth yet. But being 3-0 just brings a lot of good team morale, locker room morale. The coaches are in there dialing up, the annexation of Puerto Rico because they're like, hey, guys, we got away with one. We got to be dialed in over here, and let's see if Bear can take in these new concepts and all that. They did say, hey, Bear did good with the audibles and all that. Maybe they only gave him one audible, and he did good with it. Maybe they give him 10.
Baby steps.
But he did good with it. And
but all we hear is that he's mature and he's smarter than even a lot of the guys that they've coached for a long, long time. So maybe that's more the case. Yeah. I don't know. Who knows what the reality is? You start to find out as that competition ramps up a little bit more. We'll take another break here. We've got Mitch Harper, who's going to be joining us next, our BYU insider for KSLSports.com. Give us his thoughts on BYU prepping for Colorado. I'm interested to see what they're going to do at the running back position with Sione Moa being out this week on the injury report. Obviously, L.J. Martin's going to get a bulk of those carries. I think people are waiting to see, okay, is this going to be his 25-carry game? I don't know. Is Enoch Nawahine going to be the guy who steps in at that RB2 spot? How's that going to work out? Many more questions for Mitch around the corner. Stay with us. It's a Football Friday, 97.5 DKSL Sports Zone.
All college football, all day. It's a Football Friday right here on the Zone. Whether it's the Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, we've got you covered. This is a Football Friday edition of JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Put your headset on. All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. I think we got the candy figured out. Harvey's got the candy going. Do your guys who you train, do they know you're eating this sometimes?
Yeah, so they know I have a sweet tooth, but I tell them, if you're going to eat crap, if you're going to eat any kind of crap, and I know I have my candy right here, but I'm not a nutritionist, y'all, but if what I tell the guys that I do train, if you're going to eat crap, do it before 11 a.m.
Okay, so I thought it was going to be an after 11 a.m. thing. So it's before 11 a.m.
Yeah. So my birthday was on Wednesday. Say you came and sang happy birthday to me, right? And I gave you a piece of cake, and we
it had to be for breakfast.
You'd have to eat that cake for breakfast.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm a breakfast. Well, I do it. I don't discriminate. I'll have it the night before during the birthday, and then I'll also do it afterward for breakfast in the morning. I think breakfast cake is breakfast pie after Thanksgiving, unbeatable. You know what I mean? Because you got that cold out of the fridge situation. People are like, I want some a la mode. So warm cake. No. Nope. Give me the cold coconut cream pie. Boom. Next morning, I will be there.
Absolutely.
I'm glad we got that out of the way. Harvey Langi, we just heard from him, of course. He's joining us all year long on Football Fridays. And we're going to be joined next hour by our guy, Stevenson Sylvester, who's going to be out he's out in his old stomping grounds out east. Flew into Pittsburgh. He's going to take in that West Virginia-Utah game, cover it there on the broadcast side of things. Joining us right now, he covers the BYU Cougars for KSLSports.com. He's our BYU insider, best in the business, Mitch Harper. What's going on, Mitch?
Hey, happy Friday, guys. Happy to be on.
All right, let's get right to it, man. First of all, the ECU game, the overreaction to that one. I know everybody loves talking about how, we're seeing Bear grow up before our eyes here. What is the thing you think that impressed the coaches the most for Bear in his third start and third win for BYU?
His accuracy. I thought that his performance was solid, and he continues to take care of the football. And, that's the biggest thing. He's kind of checked off pillars throughout this process where he's learned the playbook, 1, 2, he's taking care of the football, and the accuracy's improving. He's completing the ball at a higher clip than Jake Retzloff did last season. So he's been impressive so far, and I think that last week's win over East Carolina, was pretty solid, I thought. East Carolina's a decent football team. I think they could be like an 8-win squad this year, and last night they looked pretty good.
They
jumping
trashed
out to,
Army, man, yeah.
They did, and just that's a kind of feather in the cap to BYU's defense of how good they've been playing. So I think this BYU team is playing with a lot of confidence, but I think a lot of that confidence ties into the fact that this young 19-year-old freshman is, playing well to where the success the program had last year hasn't gone off the rails because of the true freshman. He's lived up to it and done a nice job so far, but now it's Big 12 play.
There's always going to be some adversity or some challenge, and this week BYU is a little shorthanded in the backfield, especially with Sione Moa. Obviously, you got a back right now that's just having a great season so far, but you need multiple guys there. How much of a loss is that Sione Moa isn't going to be able to play in this game, and who's going to step up in his place?
It's significant because there's a big drop between LJ Martin and really anyone, but from Sione Moa even to Deanic Nawahine. So Sione Moa, he had the talent to, give LJ Martin a breather and, go 5 or 7 carries and get upfield. BYU stuff rate has been pretty much at a minimum. It's in the single digits this year because they're moving forward. They're not getting stuffed at the line of scrimmage this season, and in large part because of LJ, but also Sione Moa too. So I'll be curious to see how much, BYU utilizes going back to Bear Bachmeier in the ground game too. Last week I thought Bear did a solid job there. I mean, obviously he had that 16-yard touchdown run, which was really impressive. There was that, scare in the first half where he goes a little bit airborne, and initially it was a roll to fumble, but he clearly was down. So I'll be curious to see if they utilize him more on the ground attack. But this BYU rushing attack has been good this year. One of the best in the country. They've been the best in the Big 12. And now they're gearing up for a Colorado rush defense that is one of the worst in the Big 12, allowing 214 yards per game on the ground. I think it'd be huge for BYU if they could have, some success early, establish that ground attack, and, try to build up a big lead to maybe where you could afford the luxury of maybe letting LJ Martin rest in the second half. You don't go into a game assuming that, because any game in the Big 12 is going to be tough, and Colorado's capable to make this interesting, but I also think BYU's capable of pulling away from the Buffs, and I think that would be the maybe ideal scenario with a shorthanded running back unit going into this game.
How about Mitch, this is Harvey. I wanted to ask about your thoughts of, can Bear Bachmeier and the BYU offense finish drives? They rely on their defense. Their defense is tied for first right now for 5.3 points against, and they're doing great. And you would rely on a defense when they're stacked like that. But, last week against ECU, the offense didn't get into the end zone until almost the end of the third quarter. Finishing drives and Bear Bachmeier, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's got to be an area of focus, Harvey. I mean, BYU's had 17 appearances in the red zone. They've converted on 16, but they've had to settle 6 times for field goals too. So that's, to me, going to be an area where BYU has to get better in this game. And I think that's the next kind of maybe piece to the evolution of Bear Bachmeier. Alex and I were talking earlier in the week on 1st and 12 about how this schedule really has set up well for Bear, where it's been, first career start, first game against a Power 4 team, first road start. Now it's the first Big 12 game against a Big 12 team that's probably near the bottom of the league. It's really set up nicely for Bear to continue to just level up and meet the challenge in front of him. And I do think that finishing drives is going to be important. I'm curious to see, what type of play calling we see from Aaron Roderick in those spots. I thought last week he was pretty balanced in the second half when they started to really attacking East Carolina. I thought in the first half BYU was moving the ball, but as you know, they just couldn't finish drives. So curious to see the play calling from Aaron Roderick this week, what that's going to look like in the red zone if they do turn to the air or go to the ground with LJ. in those spots. So, but that is an area where they've got to get better moving forward as they get into the guts of Big 12 play now.
There are a couple of weak spots for this Colorado team. One is, you don't really have a solid thought on who your quarterback is necessarily. I think Caden Salter obviously is the guy this week. It was almost like they kind of put him in timeout while they had Ryan Staub start for a minute, and they go, okay, now he figured it out. Had a 300-plus yard passing day against Wyoming in that win at home last week. But I think one of the big areas, too, is, and you tell me, the things that jump out to you with this Colorado team where BYU can attack, but that run defense is one of the worst in the country, too.
They are one of the worst run defense. I will say, though, Colorado's defensive line and offensive line, they're much bigger than they were last season in the Alamo Bowl. And you look at their offensive line, they got Jordan Seaton, who Coach Prime calls the franchise, and then they got Illinois transfer Zyde Chrysler. Both of those guys were a little bit questionable at the beginning of the week, but they're expected to play according to Coach Prime. But there's a lot of size on the offensive and defensive lines. I'll be curious to see how Colorado performs without one of their top defensive tackles in the first half with Anquan Barnes. He had a targeting penalty against Wyoming in the third quarter last week, so he's going to miss the first half. That's a pretty big loss. They'll have Jaheim Otis, Alabama defensive tackle, who hasn't played much this season. We'll be curious to see if he's full go for against BYU coming up tomorrow. But I think that's going to be a bigger test this year than what it was 9 months ago in the Alamo Bowl. And, that's why I think BYU kind of jumping on these guys early could really take the sails out of this Colorado team, because I think they lack any sort of identity right now. They haven't been good in games where they're asked to be the physical football team. They got the size to maybe do it this year, unlike last season. But, Coach Prime has lost 7 consecutive games against top 25 opponents since he took over the job. This is game number 30 for Coach Prime as the head coach. Last time they beat a top 25 team was that game 1 against TCU back in 2023. So physicality, they always tend to come up short, because when you're facing teams in the top 25, they're going to be physical football teams, and that's totally BYU. That will show up, and I think that's one of the nice things about BYU going into these spots where maybe you would have been a little bit more nervous a few years ago as a Cougar fan going into these spots, but BYU's physicality will show up and travel wherever it goes. It's just maybe, the finer details of finishing drives inside the red zone, getting those touchdowns. But, BYU's playing a sound brand of football right now, and it's one that I think can consistently show up each week. And then you pair that up potentially with growth week after week from Bear Bachmeier. It's a good recipe for BYU, and I think it's a matchup where BYU is the better team. I just think you got to make sure to continue to really kind of overwhelm Colorado early, because then doubt could start creeping in for the Buffs, and this thing could get in BYU's favor quite early.
Evan Johnson is a great story, and BYU needed a playmaker to emerge in the secondary, and he has done that so far. When you were talking to coaches before the season, because there was so much attention put on Bear Bachmeier, but there are a lot of other storylines, I'm sure. Did they talk to you about Evan Johnson, or did anybody see this coming, that he was going to be able to emerge and be this type of playmaker on that defense?
The buzz started to build on Evan Johnson. I remember last year at Big 12 Media Day, I had a conversation with Kalani Sitake, and, we kind of got deep in the weeds with the personnel breakdown and kind of going line item by line item. And, he brought up Evan Johnson at that time. And I bring that up because when Evan Johnson signed with BYU, he was just basically a developmental player. When, Kalani's staff in the previous regime with Ed Lamb and Elisa Tuiaki, they tended to go with, 2-star, under-the-radar, track and field specialists, guys that maybe didn't know as much about football, but they could develop into something special because they got the measurables and the speed. Evan Johnson was a 10-4, 100-meter guy, grew up near Pebble Beach golf course. I mean, he's always had speed, and that's always been his calling card, but what could he be as a quarterback? But the buzz started to kind of build on Evan last year. It just kind of got overshadowed because BYU had Jacob Robinson and Mark Collins, and there wasn't much of a need for Evan to step in. But he had a whole year where he was trending up in the eyes of the coaches while still learning from guys that were professional players in Robinson and Collins. And then he kind of had his breakthrough moment in the Alamo Bowl last year, getting a big interception. And then, of course, it carried over into last week where East Carolina, he flipped the game in BYU's favor, and East Carolina never recovered. But, Evan Johnson's been someone that this staff has really liked, and they feel pretty good about their cornerbacks. I think Trey Alexander has done a nice job as well, the sophomore out of Georgia. So it's looking good for BYU so far, but I do think this is going to be the toughest test today. East Carolina had some good wide receivers, but I feel like with Sincere Brown, who's the deep threat for Colorado, and Omarion Miller, they're planning on trimming down their wide receiver unit a little bit. The Buffs are. They've kind of played a lot of receivers to this point of the season. They're going to kind of tighten that thing up. But Sincere Brown's kind of that deep threat guy, and if BYU can avoid the chunk yardage plays to their big play receivers, BYU's DBs with Shmev, Johnson, and Trey Alexander should be in a pretty good spot.
Mitch, as you see this team prepare for this game and you see them go on the road, this is a place that I don't even know if – playing at Colorado, I think it's the first time in 40-something years since they've done it in 1981. It's a new environment for them, but at the same – and this is a place that has a lot more energy around it than they previously had seen before. Obviously, Folsom Field gets packed. But you can also send the students home pretty early, I feel like, or people in that stadium will start to file out early if they get up by quite a bit. What are the chances that BYU can get after these guys enough to really take the crowd out of it?
I think it's a really good chance, and I think looking at the tickets available, there's still a good amount of tickets available, which is a little bit surprising because they've only had Colorado since Coach Prime took over one non-sellout game, and that was the Delaware game earlier this year. Maybe this will be the second, and that's always for BYU fans, when they see a last-minute ticket and an option to maybe get in there late, they'll gobble those tickets up and try to make it a pro BYU crowd. We know that with BYU. Last week they had about 7,000 fans in Greenville, North Carolina. But definitely, I think BYU is more than enough capable to really blow out Colorado. I know Colorado, kind of the talking points from their media have been, well, who's BYU played? Well, I look at it and say, BYU has just hammered these teams. They haven't been breaking a sweat, honestly. When Kalani Sitake was talking about that Stanford game a few weeks back, how they were up 14-0, and he's like, we didn't even bat an eye. We were not stressed at all. Like, they knew they were in cruise control. Kalani doesn't say those things unless it's real. Like, listening to that man over the years, he doesn't say that sort of stuff. So BYU hasn't felt really stressed much. East Carolina game in the first half a little bit, but still, like, you could tell BYU defensively overwhelmed East Carolina early. I mean, they had that possession on BYU's side of the field, an instant turnover on downs, missed opportunity, and BYU started to settle in. So I think BYU could definitely, have a repeat maybe of that Alamo Bowl game. I still think there's going to be the opportunity of Caden Salter to, maybe extend drives for the Buffs. I think he's the best running quarterback that BYU's defense will have faced to date this season. Last week he popped off a 35-yarder against Wyoming. He had 300 through the air and 85 on the ground. So he can do it a lot of different ways, and I think he's definitely the best quarterback for the Buffs right now. But, yeah, I think BYU's got overall the more complete football team, whereas Colorado's got talent. There's no shortage of that. They've got 3 5-stars atop their roster, but I still think they're kind of lacking a little bit of an identity right now, and they've lost both of their games against power conference teams. If you can jump on them early, I'm sure those Colorado faithful will start to maybe head for the exits with it being such a late-night game.
Mitch Harper, BYU insider for KSLSports.com. Mitch, have fun out there in Boulder. Let us know what the scene's like when you get back, and we're looking forward to the breakdown next week of how this one breaks out. Thanks, man, for hanging out with us on a Football Friday.
Hey, you bet, guys. Take care.
There you go, Mitch Harper. Like, there's not a soul out there that feels like Colorado's going to win this game. I don't know.
Coach Prime doesn't even think Colorado's going to win this game.
I don't know why it's so, like, it makes me nervous, honestly.
It
like,
should.
It's just that it feels a little bit weird. Like, everybody's going, oh, yeah, they'll win by a couple touchdowns. It's like, whoa.
If BYU is loose with the ball and they turn over the ball, I feel like that's the only chance.
Right.
And
you've got to give them extra possessions.
Yeah. And that's the only way that I think Colorado can really just upset the masses is if BYU just lacks a daisical with the ball.
What's good news for BYU is when Colorado's on television, Coach Prime draws, man. They don't even need to have Travis Hunter or Shedeur Sanders to draw a lot of people watching these games. And I think it was how many people watched that bowl game last year, by the way, JJ?
It was like almost 8. There's 8 million people.
8 million people watching that bowl game.
8 million watch BYU do that to Colorado.
So BYU is going to have
Colorado still has the most viewers this year.
Yeah, it's an 8:15 kickoff.
Isn't that crazy?
It's on the big ESPN, which means this could be another stage for BYU to get on there and go, hey, show our stuff off a little bit, because then I think they're on ESPN again on Friday, right? Taking on that West Virginia team on next Friday. So opportunities for you to be seen and beating some of the teams that people recognize, and Colorado's certainly one of those that are licking their wounds trying to figure out their quarterback situation. So we'll take a break. We'll come back. We got more to go around the corner. Stay right here with us on a Football Friday. Let's break down some NFL games coming up this weekend and who's the worst 0-3 team, who's the best 0-3 team. I always love those conversations.
Right.
Like, such a good 0-3 team. We'll come back. We have more to go. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's a Football Friday. Okay, so let me get this straight. We got the Hawaiian Poke Bowl setting up over here. You have Hawaiian Ice over here. Mm-hmm. Is that the one they put the beans on?
Wait, what?
You know when you go to the islands and they put the sweet beans on top of the old Hawaiian Ice with the ice cream and stuff?
I'll try it.
Negative.
I'm
thinking more like, the lihi moi and the condensed milk on top type,
I'll do it.
I definitely do that.
You're not going to eat the beans?
Well, whatever. I mean, if it tastes good, I'll eat it.
I think when I went out there a couple times when I was in college to BYU Hawaii, we did a couple performances out there, and it was like just people took us around and they're like, you got to have this shave ice. You can't miss on this. And they put these sweet beans on it, and I was like, all right. I mean, I wasn't looking for beans on some ice cream, but sure.
Did it hit?
It was good. It was freaking good. So, but yeah, what I'm saying is we're surrounded by all this good food, and we're over here doing a radio show. It's hot. I mean, it's not really hot, but man, I'm hot, Hawaiian Ice guy. Like, what's going on here?
Really use some setup here.
Give me some Poke Bowl action over here. Yeah. I'll get an NIL deal going on here with these guys.
I wonder if they have some type of Hawaiian Polynesian connection here in the Golden Bears or the Tigers.
Yeah, no, the Bruins are across town. We were just talking about when's Mountain View going to show up and start being a football power?
They're coming.
I don't ever remember them being a football power.
No, they haven't. They used to be the basketball power.
Yeah.
Boys and girls.
They had the whole Henry family.
Waniunga's over there right now. He's building something.
Yep.
Shout
out to Coach Unga.
So we were just talking with Mitch Harper about BYU versus Colorado. This is one of those games I think that a lot of people you got to look at and go, this is an opportunity for you. Everyone's going to watch you, okay? Much like Utah had last week against Texas Tech, and you take the good with the bad. You're on TV with a bunch of people watching you, all eyes on you, and you lose like that. People will. It's not even that they go, oh man, they don't judge you. They forget you. Like, they'll just go, oh, dismissed. You know what I mean? Like, on the national level, people just dismiss teams like that. So BYU's got an opportunity to be on TV next couple weeks on the big ESPN, kind of in some isolated time frames, like late on a Saturday tomorrow, and then next week on a Friday night. And you can make some people kind of look at you. That's when the voters start to look at you when it's on a Friday night, because then they can go, oh, I saw that they won that game on Friday night. It's the only game in town. Let's go. So they have an opportunity against Colorado tomorrow, and then another one against West Virginia next week, who's going to come into Provo. I'm assuming even more banged up than they were this week.
I would assume so. I can't. Utah's got some frustration that they need to get out, and
you don't want to be West Virginia tomorrow, right?
No, you do not. No, you do not. It's going to be a rough afternoon for the Mountaineers. If it's not, then it's going to be a rough year for the Utes.
Quick thought, real quick, is Utah State. We talked about the culture that Bronco Mendenhall brings, and then prime time. Okay, we know what he brings: money, the cameras, the clicks, the everything, the views.
Yep.
But is he building a culture, or is he just buying a culture? Is he just buying the guys that he thinks, hey, I'm going to just buy the right guys here. Maybe it's going to be like the NFL where they're going to come in and just do their job. Or, like Bronco, they have a very – I don't know what their NIL compared to Colorado, but I assume it's very, very low. But he's building a culture out there where hopefully he can, Colorado did go 9-4 last year, which is a big upside to what they're doing over there. But is it just due to the money that he's bringing in, the guys that he's bringing in, compared to like a Bronco Mendenhall who has no money and is just developing a culture?
Well,
great question.
It's a really good question, and I think you can kind of answer a little bit of it by when we're all looking at Prime and going, he's not going to stay there very long, right? He probably doesn't want to be there that much longer. And you keep having to ask, like, do you really want to stay here after Shiloh and Shador and Travis leave? And he's like, oh, I'm signed up for long term. And we're all kind of going, are you, though? Like, we still question it, right? Because you just feel like Colorado doesn't – imagine, okay, try to talk with 10 years ago me. Hey, Coach Prime is going to take that job at Colorado because he just – and I'm like, Boulder, Colorado and Coach Prime, like the Lone Star State's finest, right? I mean, he's a Texas guy. He's a conservative, religious dude. And I'll tell you what is not a conservative, religious place, Boulder, Colorado.
Right.
Like, this is the place where we found out this week they had to put pine chips into the turf because they can't. Boulder law prohibits the use of, a certain amount of reusable materials have to be used in making stuff. And they had to put pine chips
they couldn't
instead
use
of those black rubber pellets on the. If you watch the games, I was like, that's kind of cool. They got the light. They got the light rubber.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then there was like, no, those are pine chips that are like, or cedar that's like chopped up. And you're like, I couldn't imagine a more weird place.
It's wood.
And yet, he's made it kind of work. And I know they're kind of down right now, but like, you have a 5-star quarterback at Juju Lewis, like the most sought after quarterback in the country, came to your place. Now, whether or not they have the people in place to develop that kid, I don't know. But you're able to get those types of names there and big recruits to come to you. That's a big deal. But I wonder how long and how sustainable it is.
There's clearly the offseason was tough for them because he wasn't even there. And I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's fighting cancer. And he went through that.
Yeah.
And
it was a weird offseason, and he didn't tell us.
I want to be very fair to him that maybe
that's fair.
Maybe he couldn't be invested this offseason because of what he was fighting. But there's also part of me that wonders if Shador and Travis being gone and the whole thing that drove him to go there is gone, does he want to continue to sustain something there and build something there? Or does he see it as an opportunity after the season to just go somewhere else? There's an Oklahoma State job that's not far up the freeway from where he lives, right? Is that something he wants to go chase?
Hey, I'm going to tell you right now.
Somebody down there is going to be writing a big fat check for a new head coach.
You don't want to go cross the Red River and coach up in Oklahoma.
He would.
I know he would.
He would leave Boulder in a
I know.
heartbeat.
That's a sleeping giant.
Yeah, and you have facilities already. You already have, like, public support. You don't have to convince. They had to convince people in Boulder that, like, Colorado could be good again. It's weird.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know if you guys saw this last night. I'm riding high.
Oh, no. Seattle sports fan shows up.
I'm riding high with my Mariners, division champs. And the Seahawks tied for the lead out in the West.
I think I read that it's the first time a team, a city, has combined for 20 wins in 20 days.
Oh, that's actually pretty bonkers. That's wild to think. Well, I mean,
Seahawks have 3, and the Mariners, I think, have won 17.
They've won 17 of 18
days.
They've won 17.
Isn't
of
that
18.
crazy?
Yes,
it is bonkers. And I was watching this whole thing go down last night, and I'm like, Sam Darnold led the Vikings to a 14-3 season last year, and then in the playoffs, he pooped the bed so badly that everyone's like, "Get out of town!" Right?
He was a bum again,
right?
Right?
Like, get JJ McCarthy in here, and now he's in Seattle, and they're embracing the heck out of the guy. And guess what he's doing? He's doing the same thing he did
rebuilding
last year. And by the way, Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, like, that's a pretty darn good.
That's a 1-2 punch, man.
And guess what?
They let DK walk, but Jackson Smith and Jigba's a star.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and poor freaking Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
May he rest, because he got killed last night on freaking social media.
Oh.
Like, I can't believe how badly they were going after this kid. He's the 4th overall pick 2 years ago, right? Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
We watched him in the Rose Bowl show up as, like, the 3rd wide receiver that year. Remember when he was a sophomore or freshman at Ohio State in that 2021 Rose Bowl?
Yeah.
And he blows it up.
It was Jackson Smith and Jigba that killed him.
Him and Jigba and were in that. I mean, they by themselves – like, they took it over, and that was a game that Utah, was scoring in the 40s or whatever it was to get there, and they were ahead by 2 touchdowns, a good chunk of the game. It was just wild to me to watch last night, the Seattle team, who, by the way, the defense looks freaking legit. Now, the Cardinals have a good defense. I don't know when the last time the Cardinals had a decent defense, but their offense didn't do them any favors. Kyler Murray he ain't it right now.
I love what Kyler Murray has done with his time in the NFL. You got to give him his flowers. But, golly, I've never really been a true fan of him, only to the fact that he does all that cool stuff but then can't get wins. And why can't you do that? It's because I'm running all over the place. I'm throwing these deep balls and all this stuff, but can you win the game, though? So you want all these stats, but can we get the Arizona Cardinal and the NFC West like up in the, where San Fran is right now or Seattle is right now? And, they've done it here and there, but then they always just trickle just back down to where, third or fourth in those standings.
Mike McDonald, I'm telling you, that's a guy who gets overlooked. You think about all the young coaches in the league right now, JJ, so many of these young faces that are making an impact. Nobody thinks about Mike McDonald that much. But that guy is doing something there in Seattle. I mean, to take over from Pete Carroll, a legend there in town, everybody goes, yeah, I don't know, man. And then he's just slowly kind of just keep building that culture, keep it going. Now, it's early, but Seattle's the kind of place where Sam Darnold could stay for a long, long, long time.
Sure.
They'll keep him there for a long time. They won't do this whole hey, he's our placeholder, which is, I think, the role that he's played his whole freaking career, just being the placeholder. You're a placeholder and you win 14 games at the Vikings last year. And by the way, they lose to the Rams, who were the hottest that they had ever been all season long, and they almost went to the NFC Championship game themselves. So, it's just interesting to see that whole thing play out. CeeDee Lamb and Tyler Booker both going on the IR next week. I don't know. Tell me what the IR rules are in the NFL again. What ends up happening with that? If you're on IR, how long are you out? Is there a certain amount of time you have to be out? I guess it's 6 weeks.
Yeah, you're out for I believe it's 6. It's 6 or 9, one or the other. But I believe if it is 6, then you are down. You have 6 weeks to say that you're ready to go, and if you're not ready to go, then you have to stay on IR for the rest of the year.
Oh,
yeah.
So that's not a good sign.
Yeah.
Obviously, they want that guy playing as much as possible.
Minimum of 4 regular season games must be sat out.
Okay.
Dang.
And IR stinks because if you do go on IR, that means it's either surgery or some type of strain where it could take surgery, but maybe it can heal by itself, like an MCL or something. So
you have this matchup between the Cowboys and the Packers. Is that the NBC game this week, by the way? Is that the Sunday Night Football game?
Yes, it is. We've talked about that when the trade went down. You look at the schedule, like, oh my gosh! I love the Packers and Cowboys play on Week 4 on Sunday Night Football on NBC and KSL.
I love how Jerry Jones is trying to pretend isn't that fun? You got the little wrinkle in there with Michael Parson going up to the Packers. Isn't that kind of fun? That's how the NFL is. Sometimes players get traded. And you're like,
like we got better.
Stop trying to act like
deal.
Stop trying to
feel
act
like we won that trade.
Stop trying to act like, hey, isn't the NFL kind of cool? Like how this random stuff works, how I trade our best player on defense, and whoops, we're playing them in the regular season. They're not going to have CD. They're not going to have Tyler Booker. And guess what you're going to have? A Packers team who are going to come into that game with just laughing their butts off, and Micah Parsons' middle finger to the other side of the sideline. And
Jordan Love's catching his groove, too.
I know. You know what? Put Micah Parsons down.
And that's an angry Packers team, too. That was an embarrassing loss last week.
I'm going to say 1.5 sacks for Micah Parsons. You taking the over or the under?
I'm taking over.
You're going to go
He's
2?
Pissed off.
2, 3? You're taking the over?
At least 2, yep.
That guy is mad. He'll probably get 2 in the first drive.
Maybe.
And he's been playing out of his mind, in his effort and just chasing down quarterbacks and all. He's trying to prove a point this year.
And he was already that insane motor guy.
Yeah.
And now take it up to another level of you don't have to invent the disrespect too. It's there. And so when you don't have to invent it, you don't have to convince yourself. It's just there, and you're a competitor already, and you have this chip on your shoulder. It's bonkers. Let me see here. Aaron Rodgers already sandbagging on how they're going to perform in Ireland, saying they should have traveled to Ireland sooner. How soon do you want to go out there? I mean, what are we talking about? Did you have to make one of those international games at all?
I went to London.
And
and it was great.
Was it weird, like the whole travel thing, where they like, oh, how are we going to get over there on time? And was it such a big deal when they make that? I mean,
the acclimation that hard?
There's an adjustment you have to make, but it can't be that bad.
No, it wasn't. And when you're in sports, and if you've been in sports, which I assume A-Rod's been in sports his whole life, guess what? You've traveled, and you know how to just adapt. And if you don't adapt, you die. And throwing that before the game just pretty much tells the whole team, like, gosh, is that just another excuse if we lose? Or so? It's like, gosh, man, you got to come in here confident. Hey, we got here. Start talking about how beautiful it is or something. You don't got to just come in. First thing you say is, gosh, we should have got here earlier. I don't know about it anymore.
Yeah.
God, the times are running
old man
already.
Thing to say. Not in the afternoons anymore.
I just love it. We were saying this, too, about the travel thing. This is the new traveling to England or to Ireland for a football game is the NFL's version of we have to go to East Carolina next week. I don't know how we're going to be able to put our pants on over there in that different time zone.
Yeah.
It's humid there.
I know. And the NFL guys are looking around and they're going, we travel 3 time zones every freaking week. Like, you know what I mean? Like those New York teams and the LA teams, they're going across country. They don't care.
Imagine baseball and NBA.
You go where the paycheck takes you. And that's the end of it. And Aaron Rodgers, by the way, stop it. Like, don't make excuses already. Don't start making excuses. Who are they playing, by the way, in Ireland?
They have
Annapolis. Who are they playing? Who are they playing over there across the pond? Nobody knows. Yeah, who cares?
Nobody knows.
Oh, no, they have – oh, gosh. The Vikings. The Vikings. It's going to be a good game because Wentz is playing out of his mind. Well, not out of his mind, but he played very well.
He had a good week last week. That was an impressive win.
Yeah.
They absolutely wrecked the Bengals. So the Vikings got right with a backup quarterback. Yeah, I would pick the Vikings to win that game, to be honest.
I'm rolling with the Chargers this year, gentlemen.
Oh,
not a bad time to do it since they're 4-0 right now.
I'll stay out of the conversation because I'm a Broncos fan and I'm biased. But
I'm a big Miami Dolphins fan, but I don't know the last time I cheered for them or watched the full game. So
they're just awful. Dude, who wins? We have to go to break, but who wins the 0-3 bowl on Monday Night Football? Jets or Dolphins?
Oh, I wish there was a way they could just both go with a one tie at the end of it too.
Do we have to watch that game?
I'm taking the Dolphins, baby.
All right,
fins up.
You played for the Jets.
I was a big Dolphins fan, so when I got to the Patriots, before I even got there and met Tom Brady, I did not like him because he took my Dolphins home every year. Hey, you guys go home. We're going to go play. You guys go home.
You played for other teams in the AFC East, and you still like the fourth team in the AFC.
Ricky Williams, man, Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas. I go all the way down. I'm a big-time Dolphins fan.
What's the guy's name from Pet Detective? Ray Finkel? What's his name?
Ray Finkel.
Laces
Ray
out,
Finkel.
man.
Yep. Laces out, Dan.
All right, we'll take a break. We've got more to go around the corner. I've got a little Football Friday top 10 for you, so stay right here with us. By the way, this hour, as always, brought to you by the good folks at the Doug Smith dealerships in American Fork, Spanish Fork, and in Linden. Go check it out for yourself. Nobody knows cars like Doug. We'll take the break here. We'll come back. 97.5 BKSL Sports Zone.
All college football, all day. It's a Football Friday right here on the Zone. Whether it's the Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, we've got you covered. This is a Football Friday edition of JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. Football Friday, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen, Harvey Langi, bringing you all of our thoughts on a Football Friday. Our producer, Alex, just yelled something in our ear. I'm supposed to do something right here. You said something to me, and I didn't hear it. Oh, you know what? It's that time of the week for me to remind you. You got to hit up the Hercules Hero of the Week program. Nominate a Hercules Hero of the Week by going in and honoring the people who are the awesome volunteers in your neck of the woods. All you have to do is go to KSLSports.com/contest. That's KSLSports.com/contest. And you can find yourself an easy way to nominate that person who does an awesome job in your neighborhood as a youth sports volunteer. And then we give them a prize from Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals. Those are the people who bring you the program. Just go to KSLSports.com/contest. We don't have time for our top 10 right now, okay, because it's too long. but I've got it. We're going to do it. I'm going to sneak it in next hour. Maybe I'll make Sly be a part of it, too. Stevenson Sylvester is going to join us all the way 2 time zones away in the humidity.
Is his phone going to work?
Of West Virginia. I don't know. With the humidity, you know how it is. The phone could have gotten wet just walking around. You know
is he ready for it, though? He's 2 time zones away?
I don't know,
like,
if he'll be able to handle it.
Is he in bed already?
You know what? He has kind of turned old man Sly with the baby and everything. Like he's totally turned
Dad
into
gang.
us. He's turned into the
He's
dad
unk
gang.
now.
I love it. All right, we'll take a break here. We'll come back and we will keep you going here on a Football Friday. Stay dialed in. We've got a full hour here ahead of you. We're going to get Utah and West Virginia taken care of for you. Also, we're going to get our predictions on how these games are going to play out the rest of the weekend as well. Plus, the national slate of college games is looking pretty nice this weekend. And there's some guys out there having to attend a fall wedding with their girlfriends, and they're missing all the good games this weekend. We'll tell you which ones they're going to be watching on their phones at the dinners at somebody else's wedding. Stay right here with us. More to go. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
All college football, all day. It's a Football Friday right here on the Zone. Whether it's the Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, we've got you covered. This is a Football Friday edition of JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. It's Football Friday. You know what that means? We are here on location. This week, we're at Orem High School. Orem versus Timpview.
Rivalry.
You got. We've already been heckled by a couple of groups of students going by. Inappropriate. Yeah. All right. This is when we know we're in the dad group now. We're like, excuse you.
Yeah. No, I don't think
Clean it up, kid.
That's not good sportsmanship.
Clean it up, but have fun tonight. All right.
I'm going to call the police.
Excuse you. Clean it up. Like I turn into my dad on that stuff. It's like, hey, knock it off. Like I could hear my dad's voice. Like, hey.
Hey, what's your name, son? Get over here. And your 2 buddies over there, don't run.
No,
get over here.
I don't act like I don't see you behind those bushes. Get over here.
Your parents know you're acting like this?
Now, I don't want to go too hard on you, but okay, settle down. All right, we all want to have fun tonight, don't we?
Back in my day.
Yeah, I never did anything wrong. The stuff we could have gotten in trouble with in 2024, in 2025, if we were doing those things in high school that we did. All right, we are at Orem High School, Orem Timpview. Hey, Harvey and I are going to be on the call tonight on Game Night Live, man.
Here we go.
This is going to be fun. I'm just going to straight up lean on you. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to get most of the names wrong, and then I'm going to look at you and go ahead.
I'm going to say that's my cousin. My cousin number 44 just scored a touchdown.
I was going to say if they score, then you go. And then if a guy gets picked off, you go, I don't know him.
Yeah.
Never heard of him. Oh, you'll see. Yeah, Alex Napolis calls enough games. Our producer,
Napolis knows.
He knows. You're gonna get a couple emails from parents about how to pronounce their kids'
It's
name.
worth it for you guys to go down on the sidelines and do your best to try to get those names.
It's fine.
Right,
I'm feeling good about it.
You will get an earful from people.
I like the advice. I'll do that.
We've been harassed before up in the booth, and I'm okay with it. Look, we're doing our best up there. Home of the Golden Tigers, by the way, Orem High School. This stadium looks a lot nicer. Is this the one that got burned during the summer? Somebody burned like a giant patch in the middle of it.
Don't think so.
Some vandalizing going. Some vandalizing going on.
I sort of like that, bringing back that rivalry where you go back and forth. And, we used to plant trees in Riverton's
in their field?
Yeah, before everyone had turf. But we planted, I think, a couple trees from every 10 yards. And then we had to go back out and undig it out before the game even started.
Somebody found
That's a lot of labor for a practical joke.
It was a practical joke, and it wasn't worth it.
I love the idea of some kids, and they get help from their friends, and they're literally just doing a bunch of work that they would never do on a normal weekend.
Yeah.
You can't wake them up to do this work. But if it's a prank, that's what I'm going to tell my kids. Hey, we're going to go prank this old lady and pull her weeds.
Yeah. She's going to wake up and her lawn's going to look flawless.
And then she's going to be like, how dare you anyway. We're going at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Those are all prank things that you could do, but you can't do those things now. Joining us right now on the program. By the way, we got to kick off the show right. We got to kick off the program with the cut. We'll jump in here. Stevenson Sylvester is out east. We'll see if we can get him dialed up on the interwebs, and we'll get him going on here. Let's get jumped in right here with the cut, top of the hour.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program. TRAJANwealth.com for all your trusted local needs in retirement. TrajanWealth.com. Stevenson Sylvester, former Utah linebacker, former NFL linebacker. Did you ever get to go across seas and play a game, Sly? Because your guys are out in Ireland this weekend.
Yeah, they are. No, I missed that time when they went to London to play the Vikings, like they're playing this weekend. I had a high ankle sprain, so I missed that first 4 games of the year when they went. And then, I missed that one game. But believe me, when everybody came back, they told me all the stories. It was pretty bad.
Pretty bad. Well, Harvey did the trip over to did you guys play at Wembley Stadium? Is that where you guys played too?
We did.
So it's a cool thing. But Aaron Rodgers says that they should have gone out earlier. This trip is too much. It's a lot for these guys to take in. Is that just a guy making up excuses for your Steelers already?
Nope. That's exactly what everybody said when we went out. Was it 2014? We played the Vikings. The same exact phrases, words. I don't know when they went out because when we went out, it was Friday. It was like almost like a normal game. We went out one day before as if we went to the West Coast or something. And so the jet lag, everybody sleeping in meetings, he is not lying. That trip is brutal.
Well, speaking of trips, Texas Tech came in here last week and got the best of the Utes.
Ew.
Before we look ahead to West Virginia, just want to get your thoughts on how that all went down. What are your takeaways from that game and what went wrong for Utah in that game? Was it really that big of a beatdown, or is it just a little thing here and there that Utah needs to fix and clean up moving forward?
Well, here's the thing is you look at the final score, it's not going to tell a story, right? But here's the thing, as fans, as people, we can't get mad at good football, right? Just because our team didn't come out with the W, we can't get mad at good football. That was a good football game. And me and JJ, we talk about it all the time. It's just like, I love defensive matchups. I love them, but when it's not my team. I want my team to blow everybody out, right?
Yep.
But that game was epic. I don't know. I was on the sidelines just like, oh, this is awesome. This is Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis just throwing blows and hitting each other back and forth. And it was awesome. I'm telling you, if we don't make the first mistake and let them get up 7-0, and that was us. It was nothing that they were doing that was killing us on defense. We killed ourselves, and they get up 7-0, or we don't create that penalty by Spencer Fano, illegal man downfield, tie ball game. It's a different story, right? Maybe our defense isn't on the field as long. Maybe, it's all about storytelling, and I just don't think that we were ever able to control the narrative in this football game by getting control back. And that's why, JJ, we talk on Sunday nights about those 3 to 4 statistics that showcase success in football games. That's third down conversions. That's, of course, controlling the turnover battle. That's rushing yards per carry, and that's time of possession, right? That means you're controlling the game and you're able to do those things. And we lost in all of those categories, and that's just something we haven't been doing this whole year, so it was very different for us. But what I say to fans and people that are looking at that football game is you can't get mad at good football. We didn't finish, right? Football isn't 50 minutes of football. Football is 60 minutes all the way through, and Texas Tech made sure that we believed that. So here's one thing. I hope we get another shot at Texas Tech, and hopefully it's in the Big 12 championship, because they're going to get 60 minutes of us. Please believe that.
Sly, how about ball security for the Utes? 4 turnovers, like you said. You can't turn over the ball. Ball security is job security, and it clearly can indicate who's going to win the game if you win that battle. And with the Utes losing 4 of them, and they did get 2 takeaways, but losing 4, what are they going to do to move forward and try to protect the ball better?
Yeah, man. Look at that, right? Like 2 of those turnovers were interceptions. Those are dumb interceptions by Devin Dampier. There's no excuse you can do. Honestly, the fumbles, Harvey, are the defense being opportunistic. It wasn't like the ball was hanging out, like being loose, like terrible technique. It was the defense just doing an amazing job of perfect timing of punching that ball out. They were purposeful. I keep saying JJ, because we talk about this all the time during football.
Yep.
You're being purposeful with making sure you're going after causing a turnover. They were being they knew, like, if I get around the ball carrier, I am throwing my hand out and I am punching the ball out, right? When you come off the edge and you're going for a sack, and this is what I learned from James Harrison and Lamar Woodley, be purposeful about getting the ball out. You get 3 stats right there. You get a tackle for loss, you get a sack, and a forced fumble by doing one action, right? Yeah. And so being purposeful around the football is what Texas Tech was. I can't say that we had terrible ball security. Of course, they fumbled it, so it is our fault, But I just think that they were being opportunistic with the turnovers. It was a great football game. We just weren't on the other coin. We weren't sharp. We couldn't handle the moment. We could say all of those things, but to say Texas Tech is so much greater than Utah, I can't say that. And that's what football's all about. Bump all of the media narratives of this guy is better than the other guy. Football is all about you got to show up on Sunday. The movie Any Given Sunday. Yeah. You got to show up on Sunday, and if you don't show up, that's your butt.
I agree. It was a very defensive game. By the fourth quarter, it was 10 to 13, or what was that?
Yeah,
10 to 13 in the fourth quarter, and Hammond gets in, right? And when Hammond gets in, I wanted to see a lot more pressures and blitzes and get this dude shaken up in the pocket.
That's why Harvey showed up to the broadcast today saying, you gotta run after
Bring
that backup
the house. And he was just back there chilling, just getting comfortable and throwing dimes and then 24-point swing in the fourth quarter. The Utes scored their first touchdown in the fourth quarter, but then Texas Tech comes back and scores 24 points in the fourth quarter with that Hammond kid. Unbelievable game for him.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, if there's anybody on that roster that needs to be paid, it's the backup quarterback, right? That's showing that every job is valuable. You have no idea when it's going to be your opportunity, right? Again, I'm going to tell a story from the league, is James Harrison, right? He took over. He tells me his story all the time of how he took over for Joey Porter. Joey Porter was acting like a butthead in pregame against Cleveland and gets kicked out and misses the game, and James Harrison comes in, balls out, 2 sacks, and never let his job go. So
after he's been cut, though, he's already been cut before that, right?
Exactly, yeah, right? Exactly. Yeah. You never know when it's going to be your job. And so, I just knew it. I'm just like, man, we up 30, 40 points. Why you ain't going to come out? Let me go in. And that's why. He don't ever want me to come in and take his spot, because you never know when your job's up. You never know when it's going to be your time. Yeah, it's the Stars this time. So always be ready is honestly any sports analogy that you can put to any sport. You always be ready. You never know when your moment is going to be your moment. Will Hammond had his moment, and I'm telling you, this is what like LeBron used to say about Dante DiVincenzo when he was going through March Madness and he was just killing everybody. He said, that kid made some money today, right? That kid just increased his draft stock with amazing performance. Will Hammond increased his transfer portal stock with the performance against Utah.
Sheesh.
Right? Yeah. Right? I mean, Will Hammond's performance, the way he threw the ball, the way he ran the ball, the way he commanded the offense, he came in as if he was the starter. He was ready to go, right? So if he transfers somewhere, people are going to look at his film from that game and how he handled that in just one half of football. He scored 24 points in one quarter and completely brutalized a top-tier Utah defense.
Nice.
That's why Joey McGuire made sure to mention in his press conference this week that Hammond has a 2-year NIL contract with Texas Tech.
That don't mean nothing.
Just saying.
I was going to say.
He made it a point to make it very clear. He wanted everybody to know that.
He's on a 2-year contract. And you're as a backup, we want to start him. We're going to give him a 2-year contract as a starter.
And we'll double it.
Yeah. Then he'll walk away
Baron
from that
Morton,
deal.
You're injured this week.
What's your buyout, kid? Yeah. What's the
Exactly.
buyout?
What's your buyout?
Yeah.
What's
And you know what's
your
funny is
buyout?
in the future, maybe that's a deal that gets made with teams, right? Where you go, hey, we want your backup quarterback. Here's the price for him. Okay.
That's business, though. I like that.
I know.
I like
know.
that. Let that
Well-
be known instead of screwing the team. That
Yeah,
university who loses that player can actually get some benefit from losing that player. Right? There's reasons to having over talent on your team. Let's benefit from it.
Well, we spent enough time lamenting what happened last week with Utah and Texas Tech.
You're right.
How about this?
You're right.
How about this game against West Virginia? This is a team. We were talking with one of their beat writers yesterday. Was it yesterday, JJ? We were talking about how insane and insanely long the injury report is for this West Virginia team. Utah in 2023 was looking at that injury report from the West Virginia Mountaineers this weekend going, ooh, I'd hate to be them. It's a long list, including their quarterback, 3 running backs, 2 wide receivers, all guys who are going to be contributors that are going to be either questionable or out in this game. And then the beat writer we were talking to goes, yeah, the ones that are listed as questionable, they're actually probably not going to play either. So this is a team that's banged up and a Utah team that is absolutely foaming at the mouth, ready to beat a team up. How does this one turn out for the Utes?
I mean, here's the thing. I learned last year not to just throw things out there. And this is, I'm going to preface everything with, this is what I believe we should do. I believe we should dominate, right? You know, interviewing all of those guys after the game on Saturday, they knew they messed up. They knew they didn't put their best foot forward. And a new focus was going to be a priority this week. You know, taking the long trip out east, staying at this crappy hotel here in West Virginia. I know they're feeling that. They want to let out a lot of rage. But, you know, I think that this needs to be a technical clinic put on tomorrow by Utah. It's going to be a crappy day of weather, and, you know, you should be able to run the football extremely effectively. Ball security, efficiency, great defense, opportunistic defense. All of those things are going to be paramount tomorrow, and it should be a typical Utah football type game. You know, Rich Rodriguez is a very talented coach and very creative on his side, and so excited to see what game plan he puts together with all of these injuries. But I think a lot of people are taking that note out of people's book of putting everybody on the injury report, but they're still going to play type thing. So we'll see, but I think that this is going to be a game where Utah gets back on the momentum train, and you're heading into the bye week where you get on this momentum train, you get some rest, you get some people some value time to recover and take charge of this very tight middle of the season run that they're about to go on.
You know, I know every season takes on a life of its own, and nobody wants to look backward. But here's the harsh reality, Sly, and this is the record, and you can't hide from it. Utah's 2-8 now in Big 12 play since joining the conference. They're 4-11 in their last 15 conference games. I was looking at this and I was like, oh my gosh, are they feeling the weight of that? You're around Kyle Whittingham, you're around the program, you're a Utah man. Are people up there feeling the weight of that? Or is there still an optimism moving forward? How are they handling and dealing with that harsh reality?
Not at all. No, not at all. That's not a thought in anybody's mind. With football, you take it one game at a time. You don't look at everything in the totality until the end of the season. We know last year was an anomaly with terrible offensive play. So you did everything that you needed to do to forget last season, right? Last season almost didn't happen if you're on this football team. You know, you're only paying attention to last season if you're not on this football team. If you're on this football team, you're paying attention to right now. As we said, last week was a darn good football game, right? That was a good football team that came in here, and you can't be mad at good football. And so that's what it is. But this is a new week, and you get to change that tide, right? Big 12 football is good football. That's why you want to change conferences. That's why you want to. This is what we signed up for, and we know we can compete. It's not that we can't compete. As we said, like, you know, we put 8 more points on the board last year. How many games did we win, right? And so I don't think that it's a question of whether we can not keep up or not do it. It's just a question of can we, take it week to week and just own our square space. What is it, 24 square feet, whatever it is? You own your space and you go on week to week. And so I haven't seen that. I've talked to these players. I've talked to the coaches. Nobody's looking at that as a thing, and anybody within the organization shouldn't.
Stevenson Sylvester, he's going to be on the sidelines covering this Utah team against West Virginia tomorrow, and then he'll be back again next week with us here on a Football Friday. So we're looking forward to it. Sly, safe travels out there. Have fun at the game the next couple of days. Thanks for hanging out, man.
You got it, man. Appreciate you guys. Don't have too much fun now.
Hey, change those draws after this interview.
Mr. Sly, hey, by the way, you don't have snacks next time because
I blew it. I was late. I have snacks again next week. So
Alex messed up.
Yeah.
He
I barely made it. I barely made it. I pulled a Sly where I walk up and it's 2:59 and I'm all, give me my seat. And then,
but you weren't as comfortable as I am when I do it.
No. You always look good walking up. You know exactly when you're showing up. I was stressed out. Of my mind. All right, Sly, have fun, man. Thanks for hanging out, dude.
All right, guys. See you.
There you go. Stevenson Sylvester.
He's enjoying the country roads of West Virginia.
I was listening to. Yeah, he loves it out there. What did he say? He's like in this garbage hotel out here in Morgantown.
Oh man.
Come on, Utah. You got to put up better than just a Motel 6 out there.
The leaves are turning out there. It's got to be beautiful this time of year.
Yeah, take your golf clubs out there and go hit the range or something.
They got golf courses out there?
I would assume.
They got some links out there?
They got a putt-putt at a trailer park.
Yeah, Sly, come on down. We got room for you. You're like, the hills have eyes.
Yeah,
You're like, no,
I'm good.
We have 75 acres of all mountain. You could just hit it out there.
In fact, we got one of our caddies that can follow you around. And you're like, no, I'm good. I'm good.
A little deliverance going on there. Yeah, I'm staying at home tonight.
I'm sure West Virginia fans are big on the Hills Have Eyes jokes that we have all the time.
They love the deliverance jokes in West Virginia.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Was Billy Bob Thornton, was he was that his – is that where he was at out there when he was Sling Blade?
Maybe.
Is that a bad assumption to make, too? Just assume. Sorry.
Everything weird and strange happens in West Virginia.
French fried potatoes.
Hey, the Patriots, my second year, we did our joint practice and preseason out in West Virginia at this pub, private golf course, resort type deal. And I forget what it's called on the top of my head, but the basement was a huge bunker for all the top government people, the president, and all that. And now it's not that anymore, but we got to go down there and check it out. And I'm like, gosh, man, if we ever do get in a nuclear war or whatever, you guys are going to be dang safe down here. You guys have everything you guys want, eat, and have. It was just miles and miles of just I say miles and miles because there's probably more than what they showed us, but it was just super cool to go out there. I didn't like it because I felt like I was in the Hills Have Eyes type of deal. But it was very green and beautiful, and I wanted to go golf over there. But if I did that, Belichick would have sent me home on the next plane ride.
One of my work colleagues.
We're moving on from Harvey Langi. We're moving on from Harvey.
KSL Radio's
you got a triple bogey too.
KSL Radio's program director is a West Virginia grad.
That's right.
He's got his teeth are straight.
Kevin.
All right.
He didn't get him fixed until he came to Utah.
I don't know. I think he grew up out there. He's also one of the most smartest dudes you've ever met. He has zero Southern accents. Zero Southern accents.
We're joking.
All right. We'll come back. We got more to go around the corner. We've got our predictions from this week. We're going to get you hooked up, of course, and ready for the games for this weekend. We'll kind of go through how we did last week and what our predictions looked like, and we'll have to answer for some of our misgivings. So stay right here with us. More to go around the corner. It's a Football Friday, right here live at Orem High School. Ooh, they got the Tiger Club gear out. You gonna get one of them hoodies? Come on, Harvey, get over there and get one of those powder blue Golden Tiger shirts. Can't wear it during the game when we're calling the game.
I can hit my 7-iron into the field of Timpview, so if I wore that back in my side of the streets,
it probably wouldn't go well.
I was going to wear my Timpview hat tonight, but I didn't want people to start chucking stuff at our tent.
No, we're going to be and on top of that, we're going to be up in the booth up there next to all that blue and gold.
That could be awkward.
It could be very weird. All right, we'll come back. We got more to go. Stay with us on a Football Friday, 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone.
college football all day. It's a Football Friday right here on the Zone. Whether it's the Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, we've got you covered. This is a Football Friday edition of JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen, Harvey Langi here with us. Sly, we're going to give him a little bit of a pass, although he already joined us a few minutes ago. We're going to give him a pass on making some of the predictions this week. Across college football, the non-state of Utah games that are going on in college football. By the way, Florida State already underway against the University of Virginia. And UVA, the Cavs, currently up 7-0 in the first quarter on the Seminoles, my guy. So
Ooh.
That's an early one. By the way,
Virginia's interesting.
And also a sneaky good game tonight. This is a giant Big 12 game tonight. TCU goes to Arizona State. Like, that's a big game.
Very big.
That's a huge game.
Yep.
I mean, Arizona State last week, Mitch Harper and I were talking about it in our 1st and 12 show, and it was like I was certain that Baylor was going to get the win. It was down in Waco. And Arizona State, I don't know what version of them we're getting this year, but Kenny Dillingham has Arizona State to 3-1. That loss against Mississippi State looks a little bit more like, okay, they could still run the table in the Big 12. I'm sure they're probably hoping and thinking that same thing. And then I never thought in a million years on another Friday night game, you have undefeated Houston versus winless Oregon State. Like, what year are we in right now with Oregon State 0-4? Talk about how the mighty have fallen. It makes me angry because
it's not their fault.
It's sad because I always loved, growing up in the Pacific Northwest, I loved watching Oregon State because it was like they had no business being as good as they were sometimes. And you're like, dude, they out in Corvallis, they know how to ball, man. And it stinks to watch good programs go to they're going to lose that game by 3 touchdowns tonight, at least. And they're going to be at home. They're in Corvallis. They're going to lose to the Houston Cougars, which that's good for the Big 12. I think they're going to be a 4-0 Houston team going into next week. But, man, it's kind of wild to watch this thing go down the way that it is. So I'm bummed about those. Those are your slates for tonight. But across college football, the rest of the weekend, here's what you're looking at. These are the best games across college football. You've got LSU and Ole Miss. That's a battle of two teams right now that I'm not exactly sure who they are.
Right.
That's your big game on ABC tomorrow. Who do you have in LSU and Mississippi? Because I just don't trust Brian Kelly at all. LSU being ranked 4th in the country feels very weird. Ole Miss shouldn't be ranked 13th either, I don't think. I just don't think they're there yet talent-wise. This, to me, feels like an opportunity for either one of these teams to maybe show up a little bit, but even after the result of this game, I'm not sure where we're going to stand with those two teams.
Yeah, this is almost a pick 'em. Ole Miss is at home. LSU offense not good. Those two factors, I'm taking Ole Miss, and it's a 1.5 point spread.
Right
for Ole Miss.
The other game, the other big one that's going to be on ABC tomorrow, is 17th ranked Alabama going to Georgia. That's going to be a big test for Kalen DeBoer. By the way, if you want to get run out of town, lose that game by a lot if you're Kalen DeBoer. Talk about like another nail in the coffin of a guy who barely has had any time there.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but Alabama requires people to do insane things. Alabama and Georgia, who do you have in this one, Harvey?
I'm going to go with Georgia, but before this one, I think I'm going to take LSU.
Okay. Take the Tigers?
Yeah, I'm liking what the Tigers are, especially how they started off against Clemson. Everyone was all over, Clemson, and these guys came in and get that W. I'm with the Tigers, and I'm rolling with the Dogs, the Bulldogs. So I'm going with Georgia to take over the Roll Tide.
Look, I feel like Gunnar Stockton's one of those guys that we have to apologize to a little bit still.
He's getting it done.
He's been playing well. We've had to apologize all year long to Carson Beck and the Miami Hurricanes, but
are we going to have to apologize to Ty Simpson?
No.
You don't think so?
Not yet.
We'll find out on Saturday. I don't think we're going to either because I think Georgia rolls. I don't think Saturday is going to be a good day for the Alabama program. So
they're ruining our football program.
I'm all Georgia on Saturday.
Now the big one, Big Ten matchup. Sounds so weird saying that. Oregon travels to Happy Valley. Oregon, Penn State, number 6 Oregon, number 3 Penn State. I really think that the rankings in my head are actually flipped on these. I think Oregon's a better team, but I think going to Happy Valley is just an absolute disaster of a place to play. This is a perfect time, by the way. They're going to kick off 7 p.m. or 7:30 Eastern. It's going to be kind of light out, but it's going to be a dark night game at Beaver Stadium, and they do these whiteouts. One of my favorite moments, somebody posted online, they're like, let me just remind you, Penn State's not an easy place to play. It's one of the stadiums in the Big Ten that has 100,000+ people in the stadium that actually feels rocking. It might be the number one craziest atmosphere in all of college football. One of my favorite moments is when I think Michigan 2 years ago went in, same type of time frame. They go into that game. They go out on the field. They have to call a timeout on the very first play of the very first series because they can't hear.
Yep.
On the very first play of the very first series. It's the number one thing you worked on all week. Talk about getting into the head of your opponent. I'm going to take Penn State, but I think Oregon's going to be a really, really tough out on this game. I think they're still going to show that they're a really, really good team. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think Penn State wins at home.
Oh, this could be the game of the week, honestly.
It really
I
is.
think it's going to be a battle.
6-3, come on.
The spread is 3.5 for Penn State. I do think Penn State wins this game. I feel like Penn State's better in the trenches, and that's where it's going to be decided. So I'm going to go Penn State. But this is going to be one of those games where you're glued to your seat. Fourth quarter, late fourth quarter, somebody's got to make a play. Who's going to make it? I think that's going to be that kind of game.
And Moore is thrown for 11 tutties today.
Yeah.
So they're clearly they can get the ball downfield and he can score by passing the ball and running it. But
they haven't seen anything like
this.
Yes,
Penn State just wins the line. These guys
this Penn State defense is so good.
And they're very physical from the trench side of things, and I agree with you, JJ. It's going to be tough to out-bully Penn State.
How often does Oregon play in a game where the total over-under is 53.5? That's pretty low.
They're used to scoring the 53.5.
Right.
And in fact, I think they might be at 49 points a game or 52 points a game, something right now. All right, let's get to the locals here. Utah State goes to Vanderbilt. They are 23.5-point dogs. I'm gonna say that this game ends up similar to the one at Texas Tech, except for or Texas A&M, excuse me. I don't think it's going to be a 3-touchdown game, but I do think they're going to show up and kind of surprise this team. But I don't think they're going to do it in the second half. I think they're going to show up in the first half and be surprising. And I think you're going to see. I'm going to go Utah State falls to Vanderbilt, but it's going to be a 34-24 game. It's going to be a 10-point game.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, that's what I see. 24 points by the Aggies against the Commodores.
I'm going to go with a little bit lower of a score, but a closer game, 28-20. The Aggies get within a touchdown.
Oh, JJ, we think alike. I wanted to say
Sorry, I took your score.
I wanted to say 28-17. You said 20. I think Aggies can at least get 2 on the board and then a field goal. And 28 is a little bit low for Vanderbilt for me. I almost wanted to give them over 30, maybe a 31 or something. They get a little field goal right there. But I'm going to stick with that 28-17. I'm with you. I think it's going to be a little bit low scoring.
All right, let's go to Utah, going to West Virginia, taking on the Mountaineers. I don't know what the spread is in this game. Don't care. I think Utah's going to run away with this thing. I think they're going to get right on the backs of a really bad West Virginia team. I say really bad because they're so hurt. And I'm going to go, it's going to be a 34-13 win for the Utes out there at Morgantown.
Well, to tell you how rough it is for West Virginia, Utah just lost at home to Texas Tech 34-10, right?
Mm-hmm.
Utah is a 12.5-point favorite in Morgantown.
Yep.
With a 47.5 total. I would take Utah big in this game. I think Utah's an angry team. I think Utah's an embarrassed team. I think Utah's a locked-in team. They're going out there with a purpose, with something to prove, and they're going to take it out on West Virginia. I feel bad for West Virginia. They don't have the personnel to compete in this game. They just don't. I don't care where it's played. Utah's going to roll in this game.
All right, let's go. Oh, what do you say, Harvey?
I want to counter it. I think that, West Virginia, their starters, they are hurt, but they have always been known to have fast guys, athletic guys. And if those athletic guys can get the concepts of defense and the passing and make Dampier beat you by throwing down the field, hey, we just got to stop the Russian. I think that's also Utah will come up on top, but I think it's not going to be more than 2 touchdowns.
I think it's going to be like a 35-38-10 game.
I'm more pushing like 20. I'm at the 28 mark again. I think 28 Utah, and I think for West Virginia, 24.
Okay,
Ooh,
close game.
Yeah.
All right, and then finally the BYU Cougs going to Colorado. They are, I think, 7.5-point favorites in that game. I don't even know if it's going to be. I think I'm going to go with the double-digit situation that everybody else seems to be feeling right now. Colorado, I think, just has too many question marks, and BYU has too many answers on defense, and an offense that is going to absolutely gash them, I think, on the ground. I think it's going to be I'm going to go 31-17 Cougs roll in Boulder.
Okay, it is in Boulder, so I'm going to give Colorado a touchdown for that.
Okay.
But Houston beat Colorado 36-20. Houston. Now, I know Houston's undefeated, but come on now.
It was down in Houston, though. They got a tough student section
Colorado's not good. That BYU defense is going to be their worst nightmare. Caden Salter's going to have a rough night. I think BYU wins this one 31-10 on the road.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to get over 31 points, BYU, due to the fact of not starting fast from last week against ECU. They are going to rely heavily on the defense because the defense right now is the rock of that organization, that team right now. But how long can the defense hold? How long? And you never want injury to come upon anybody. But lo and behold, if one of those star defensive players go into that tent, that could be a huge changeover to the BYU football team. So until I see Bear and I have all the faith in the Cougars getting the offense rolling because they can rely a lot on the vets like LJ Martin. But now you're losing Moa, who blocked his butt off for LJ. He blocked his tail off for LJ and did all the right things, and now he's gone. I think it's going to be tough for Bear to get his groove, and maybe this is the game for him to prove that to me. I think BYU will still come up on top, and I'm going to keep them in the 20s, though. I think they're going to win 24-14.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
10-point win on the road.
There are our picks. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up here this hour, and we'll get you ready for the next hour. So stay right here with us. More to go on a Football Friday, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All college football all day. It's a Football Friday right here on the Zone. Whether it's the Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, we got you covered. This is a Football Friday edition of JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on the program. You're all right over there, JJ?
Oh, I couldn't be better.
I was going to say, I don't think – listen, we're trying to do a radio show here, guys. That's when you got –
That was elite.
that was – you know what that was right there? That was who was the best at that? It was like, we're about to go on the air. Okay, hold on. Oh. Sly pulls that sometimes. That was an elite pull. I think that's a great way to put it. Harvey Langi, Jeremiah Jensen.
Yeah, at least I wasn't pouring a cup of scotch and throwing it down my.
Yeah,
that's happened in this industry before.
Yeah, it has.
Not for this group, but
just a little barbecue. That's all. I gotta hit the road.
I know you do. Who's Riverton playing tonight? Mountain Ridge.
Mountain Ridge.
They're one of the new Harriman high schools, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
How many freaking high schools in Harriman are there now? 2 6A schools?
There are 2 6A schools in Harriman, and they need to build another one.
They're like the Pioneers were like, when they were all, this is the place, they were like, actually right there. A little further up that way.
More south of Salt Lake City.
I think there's some copper in them there hills and also some places where we need. I see a Costco in the future.
The population explosion in
massive.
South Salt Lake County and northern Utah County is insane.
Crazy. Yeah.
A lot of kids.
All right. We've got tons going on. We're going to keep you informed all weekend here. In the last couple of minutes for this hour, we were talking about give me a little bit more idea, Harvey, about this. You brought up the BYU thing, and you're like, I just don't know how you suddenly start blowing up on offense and scoring a bunch of more points than maybe. Well, I mean, last week they scored 34 against a pretty decent ECU team. That was a scrappy team.
Yeah.
By the way, scrappy's the new offensive way to. You guys were scrappy. It's like. Thanks, patting you on the head.
Yeah.
That's not a compliment.
Yeah, that's like 3 attaboys and 4 pats on the back. Hey, Scrappy. All right, thanks, man.
No, he was a tough kid. I mean, he wasn't very good, but he was tough.
I know A-Rod and the coaching staff are going to play the players like a Cody Hagan, like a Parker Kingston, like a LJ Martin, of course, for Bear Bachmeier to lean on. Maybe some trickeries, maybe some, reverses, some fly sweeps just to get them going. But I want to see A-Rod dial up the confidence of stretching the field down. Use Cody's speed. Use your veteran Chase. And I want to see them to, get down the field quick and start fast and get some points on the board and finish the drives, which – I know that's what every offense, their desires to do right when they get into a game. These first 3 games, and the ability of them playing against those first 2 and then against ECU. Yes, they scored 34 points, but when did those points come in, Alex? And if someone's scoring a touchdown every quarter and then all of a sudden you're scoring at the 4th quarter, now it's just. Everyone is on eggshells. Every play matters, which, every play should matter. But now it's make or break because, we didn't show up until the 4th quarter. And I don't think that's going to be the case. But when am I going to think that? I don't know.
Yeah, at some point that offense they just have to let it go. But so who cares what age this kid is? This is game number 4.
Yeah.
Right.
Just start doing whatever you want to do.
Jake Retzlaff, first 4 starts, 8 turnovers, like 8 to 10 turnovers, almost double digits. But guess what he was doing? He was running, he was hucking, he was playing on house money.
He was also 0-4, though, too.
He was 0-4. But then now look what that developed him into.
Yeah.
And I felt like there was a couple of deep balls that I saw from Bear that were a little bit off here and there, but it's because maybe he hasn't fully gain that confidence to let it go. And I know once he does, that's going to be a very dangerous team.
Yeah.
With all the other phases playing the way they are.
Okay, let's take another break. We'll come back. We've got more to go around the corner. 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone.